Heavenly Father, we thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us.
Oh, they're sideways. Look at Robbie Gordon on the high side. He gets all 4 cars, all the leaders. Michael Waltrip makes the pass.
I pray you bless the drivers and use them tonight. May they put on a performance worthy of this great track.
Oh, yeah, what a slide.
Let's see. Oh, he's going to do it. The guitar.
In Jesus' name, boogity, 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 amen.
Once again, welcome back to Nashville Superspeedway as we take a look at the starting grid. Kyle Busch, Austin Cindric making up row number 1. Again, Kyle going for 100. Austin Cindric, the defending Xfinity Series champion, starting on that front row.
Yeah, Hearst and Burton, another Joe Gibbs car, row 2. Back in row 6, you see Justin Allgaier and Justin Haley.
Tyler Reddick also back in the field here. He'll be alongside Moffitt back in row 9.
It's going to be fun to watch him. Josh Berry making his final start for Junior Motorsports back in row 11, alongside his teammate Michael Annett.
Alex LeBay, Curry back there, as well as Jesse Little, Natalie Decker rounding out the field of 36. All right, let's dial up Justin Haley on the radio. Jeff?
Let's make sure they're off the radio. I think they're clear. Hey, Justin, is Burton up in the booth? You got us?
Yeah, I got you.
Some huge news yesterday for you. You're going Cup racing full-time next year. Tell us what that does for your confidence for today's race.
Yeah, obviously it's big. Awesome opportunity to continue on my ventures with college racing and the NASCAR Cup Series. Just ran the Cup car for Fire Motorsports a little bit ago and found some good pace up on top, so hopefully I can get a little bit of a jump on these guys here at the start of this race. Obviously we've been fighting the balance to get a bit all weekend and haven't quite had the speed we wanted, but hopefully I can take some of that Cup knowledge I just got from practice and get some track position here early.
So it's been a decade since we've raced here. What do you think is going to happen as this track changes throughout this race?
I'm not sure. I'm going to lean on my crew chief, Alex Johns. Obviously, I've had a really good time learning this track, trying to do a lot of live. It's really a fun track. So super thankful for Matt Colley, Chris Rice, everyone at Lethal Gutter Protection, Fraternal Order of Eagles, DCR, and RCR for all the help they do for us. Hopefully we can have a good run here.
Thank you for letting us ride along, and congratulations on the news.
Thanks, guys.
So Justin Haley, the 22-year-old, getting ready to start here at Nashville. And Rutledge Wood, your plaid shirt has to fit perfectly here in Nashville.
Oh, man, it's been great downtown, brother. There have been so many fans out and about. The city of Nashville is so excited to be back here at the Superspeedway. But those fans in the stands, they're the most excited. A ton of work went into getting them ready for today. Boys, we're going to have a good show for those fans.
Yeah, so much work to make this place race ready, and they have done a fantastic job up to this point.
We got some cars. Justin Haley carrying the Leaf Home Filter Solution. That's reverse driver cam. Let's talk to him. Also, we got Justin Allgaier, the Dollar General Literacy Foundation camera. He has his front bumper cam, which is going to show us some great shots of where he's running on the racetrack. Jeb Burton, the Nutrient Ag Solutions camera. He has the helmet camera. There you see it. See how rough and difficult this track is from his vantage point. Austin Cindric will be carrying the Ford Performance camera, another reverse driver. So look back at Austin, see him wheeling on that thing.
All right, guys, so we have the Tennessee Lottery 250 about to get underway. Racing back in Music City, USA. Kyle Busch shooting for history. Austin Cindric trying to defend a championship.
And I'll tell you what, drivers, after seeing that truck race, we've seen practice, the crew's widen out, that's all fine. But the starts in that truck race were crazy, 2 and 3 wide. We're going to do it right here, 188 laps, 250 miles. Short first and second stage, only 45 laps each. At final stage, 98 laps. If it goes green, we'd have to see a green flag pit stop. So it is a bigger track, Jeff, but it does race like a short track.
It really does. You mentioned the start. I'm nervous. As a guy that watched Xfinity practice yesterday, the line was right on the bottom. I mean, they were painting that yellow line in that Cup practice. They got way up the racetrack. Will the top work? Will the bottom work? So many unknowns for these guys driving into turn 1 for the first time.
Sounds to me like options. Drivers are going to have options. We love it when they do. Diving into turn 1 for the first time in a decade for the Xfinity Series. Fans on their feet for it. The field making their way to the start-finish line. We're racing in Nashville.
Kyle Busch slides up the racetrack already. Not sure if he overdrove the corner or wanted to get up the racetrack. It's going to cost him the lead here. 3 wide down the front straightaway.
Here comes Austin Cindric. Cindric's going to lead lap 1. And how about Harrison Burton working the bottom of the racetrack? Fighting for the lead now, coming off of turn 2.
Rick, we talked about it. How do you beat Kyle Busch? You take control away. Already 2 youngsters, Cindric and Burton, moved Kyle Busch back in the 3rd position.
Burton and Cindric still side by side up front down into turn 3 and 4. Burton and Kyle roll the bottom. Cindric with a little momentum off the corner is going to clear.
See, Harrison jumped up behind Cindric, thought that Busch was going to try to get the outside of him, so try to take that line away from him. This is where I think it's so difficult for these Xfinity drivers. They've had practice, but not with other cars. These cars drive different around others because of lack of downforce. You're going to have to really be precise and hit your marks.
A couple Kaulig Racing drivers nose to tail here as we saw the 16 of A.J. Allmendinger. He slides up the racetrack. There's Brandon Jones in that yellow number 19.
Guys still not really sure exactly where they need to be running for pace. We see the leaders running the bottom, running the top, moving around. Jeff Burton up high here in turns 1 and 2, trying to find pace. AJ losing a little bit of grip off turn 2 here to the 19, Jones.
You see that outside, how A.J. Allmendinger was able to drive in the corner just a little bit deeper on the outside. Now if he can just almost keep pace with Brandon Jones on the bottom, the front straightaway, he'll have way more pace. He's just in the gas longer running that top lane.
Trying to clear him, can't get past the driver's door. And here comes Brandon Jones. Is he going to be able to slide up in front of him? It looks like he cleared him. But now he's battled back.
Little side draft there helps that 16 car retake the position.
It's a mess of cards right there. We got that red number 2, Myatt Snyder on the outside of Gregson. He's been working the top of the racetrack. Behind him, Justin Allgaier. A little bit different paint scheme. That black car or gray car with the big bright 7 on the roof. A little crossover for Myatt Snyder. High entry, low exit. We'll see if he can get to the inside of Gregson. He can.
It's interesting to see Noah on the bottom slide up the racetrack as soon as he had the opportunity to. These guys don't seem to like that bottom.
Battle for seconds heating up. That's on the top of the screen as Kyle Busch has got to the back bumper of Harrison Burton.
Kyle Busch working the top of the racetrack. Ran Harrison down. Harrison then went up the racetrack, took that line away from him.
That's what today is going to be about, Jeff, right, is patience. Because if you pay attention as a spotter, as a driver, you continue to give that information. Even if your car isn't better up top, you maybe could take away the preferred line of your competitor.
But it's got to be coming quick to you. The spotter's got to be giving you that information fast enough for you to turn the wheel and get to where you need to go to block that run, take that air away. Some spotters are better than others at giving you that information.
Good vantage point here. Dollar General Literacy Foundation on board with Justin Allgaier. Look how low to the track we are here.
That's a tight battle right there. These guys know how important track position is.
I love riding on board the bumper cam or the roof cam because you can see the cars in front and how they're handling. The back's moving around, they're bouncing. You can see all those characteristics of what the drivers are facing. Battle right here still going on between Jones and AJ for 5th position.
They're going to get tired of each other here in a minute.
AJ working that top groove, just not quite as much pace as the 19. The Jones having a hard time getting by. Let's see if he clears him here. He does clear him, but doesn't take that line. allowing the 16 to come back by on the back straightaway.
Big run for Allmendinger.
Yeah, he's working that top side, and that's what that's about. It's not really driving deep into the corner. It's about getting on the gas sooner to be able to carry that speed around the exit down the next straightaway.
Already been a great season for the defending champion. Austin Cindric has led in 14 of the 15 races already this year. NASCAR Live's your live race day companion. You can jump on board with high-definition in-car cameras or select an alternate camera angle to see more action. Select from up to 8 different cameras. Just visit NASCAR.com/drive, or you can download the NASCAR mobile app today. We look down from our aerial coverage brought to you by Geico, and a great battle continues for second between Harrison Burton and Kyle Busch.
I don't know if Kyle will agree it's a great battle because he has been searching for a spot. I think he's a little quicker than Harrison, but still trying to figure out exactly the best approach here to work his way around it. The 20 is really committed to the top. Junior doesn't really give the 54 an opportunity to get to his outside or get any momentum. He's got a kind of a big dive.
Slide job, buddy. He's going to slide up in front of the 20 car and take his downforce and airway.
They were both a little quicker than Cindric the last 4 or 5 laps. But I do agree with Steve. I think that Kyle is definitely quicker than Harrison. It'll be interesting to see if he can run him down now. Listen to his radio.
Loose off 2 especially. Can't finish level. So losing time to P1. If we can have a little teammate out there, I could go. Copy.
Losing time to P1. Losing time to the leader because he's stuck behind his teammate. But that's what Harrison needs to do. Harrison has to keep himself in position to try to win this race as well. But talking about trying to get back in the gas, being loose off the corner, that's something I don't think we expect to hear a lot of these drivers talk about, being free at this racetrack, but he can't finish the gas. Maybe he can't commit to the throttle, can't get the throttle down. See him sliding that right rear right there.
Yeah, they never ran this line in practice, and the car drives completely different here versus on the bottom. So you may have had the perfect setup yesterday, and it's not today. You never were able to get the cars in these situations.
A few updates. We start with Kelly.
And behind that great battle for second is Daniel Hemrick in the orange number 18 car running fourth. He hopes to become the next first-time winner in the Xfinity Series. His crew chief, Dave Rogers, said they felt really good about what they had in the car yesterday, but he said he's constantly pushing the envelope. So they made some changes again overnight. They felt like they paid off in qualifying earlier today to start this race, though. Daniel saying he was just a little bit tight from the center of the turn off, although the front end is starting to turn a little bit better now, Marty.
Kelly, if you watched the Xfinity Series race from Texas last week, the one guy who had a contention with or had the ability to keep up with Kyle Busch was Justin Allgaier. And I asked Justin before the race, said, how's the intermediate program been for the 17? He said, honestly, a little hit or miss this year. Well, looks like it's a hit once again today. They started 11th. He is up to 7th. And now trying to get Brandon Jones for 6th, Parker.
One driver trying to chase him down. Behind him is Jeff Burton, 8th, who started 6th. He's fallen back those 2 positions. I spoke to Jeff earlier today, and I sort of asked him where their intermediate program is at college. He said, it's pretty good, but it's not for me. He said, when I did that partial schedule at Junior Motorsports, I really clicked with those cars. They clicked to my driving style. But coming over here to college, these cars drive incredibly different. They're very loose on the entry, and that's one thing he just reported to his crew. He's very loose on entry, and he's about 2/10 off the leader's time right now.
Allgaier moving forward here, got by Brandon Jones.
He's fast. He's been watching his lap times, and maybe the fastest car on the racetrack right here, Justin Allgaier.
And we're going to jump on the roof cam, Dollar General Literacy Foundation. See how it is riding around this track, seeing how rough it is. Watching the line down into turn 1. Not quite as high as the car in front of him.
I want you to listen how long he's out of the throttle as compared to most mile-and-a-halves we go to. Listen, he gets out of the throttle there.
If this track was asphalt, you'd still be in the gas. Another
now,
100 foot.
Yeah, took that long before he even went back to the throttle. So it shows you this is an extremely low grip racetrack.
Yeah, the grip.
I'm a little too free on history to piss the right rear off. Sorry.
There's a little bit of grip in the abrasion of the concrete, but the tire is so conservative. They had to bring a tire here because they were worried about that tire where they saw in the tire test. It's a really hard tire that's going to slide around on these guys. It's obviously rubbing the track in really, really well and providing us with some great multi-groove racing. These guys just chasing this groove way up the track. I have no idea where it's going to end up, if it'll get to the wall or not.
Well, Unilever and Junior Motorsports, they're teaming up with Dollar General Literacy Foundation to promote literacy efforts for both children and adults. The Dollar General Literacy Foundation actually has awarded more than $197 million in grants to literacy organizations that have helped over 14 million individuals. You can visit djliteracy.org to learn more. Kelly.
How about the biggest mover so far in the race? That's Josh Berry from Junior Motorsports, up 11 positions. He told me they had just kind of missed it for qualifying today, but remember, this is his last opportunity to race for Junior Motorsports. He told me it was going to be a bittersweet day, so the opportunity to be here with this team has meant so much to me. A win, a couple of runner-up finishes, said, but it's tough knowing it's the last one. But he told me the best thing about it is that the relationships he's built. He said the team is filled with so many great people, including his crew chief, Taylor Moyer, and he said no matter what directions our careers go, we will always have been a part of each other's first Xfinity Series win, so that's something I'll take with me forever. A hometown race. He's got a ton of people, family and friends here to support him.
Yeah, Kelly, that win at Martinsville is so big. And Junior, it was the late model national championship that really won him this ride, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's been racing in the late model series for a decade and won the national title for short track racing in the country, and has, given himself this opportunity to race in Junior Motorsports. It's also created opportunities in a truck series, and going forward this year, we may see him in more Xfinity races, just not for Junior Motorsports this year. But he's got a lot of great momentum going for him to find himself in a full-time ride next year, hopefully with us, if not somewhere else. But I think somebody's going to get this guy, and he's going to make a great driver for whatever team he's with. Right now, he's moved through the field, running in 11th spot, trying to get around Noah Gragson. Snyder, I think he's got a little more pace than these guys, but coming from 22nd, I know he wasn't real proud of his qualifying effort, but the car's got great speed.
And so he continues to fight. Again, he's trying to break into the top 10, running in 11th right now. How about the Johnny Cash Museum? One of the great things to experience when you're here in Nashville. Well, tomorrow, after nearly 4 decades, the Cup Series is back in Nashville for the first time since 1984. Of course, we're looking forward to Brad Paisley. Dale Jr. will be kicking us off with Countdown to Green. And actually, our open was voiced by John Carter Cash, the only son of Johnny Cash and June Carter. As we saw the Johnny Cash Museum as we were going to break. Austin Cindric still out in front. He has a 1.7 second lead over Kyle Busch. Lap traffic coming into play now for most of the field as they're spread out around this 1.33 miles.
Yeah, the passes are hard to come by. Guys are running each other down, but then you got to get there and find a way to get around a car. And if they're running, like you see Myatt running that higher line, I mean, that makes it almost impossible. Very difficult to pass on the bottom. That high line is a good line to run, but also a really good defensive line to run for a car who's quicker behind you. Keep him back there. The other thing I've noticed too is we saw the 7 car of Allgaier pass Jones. We saw Harris and Burton get passed by Kyle Busch. They didn't just drive away. That clean air wasn't as big of a deal as I thought it was. And so once you do make the pass, it's not easy to get away from the guy.
Mike Snyder doing a good job. New sponsorship this weekend. Crosley Brands on there with them. iRacing car behind them.
Yeah, Jeff, you just mentioned sponsors. I think probably one of the more interesting, I guess, asks for a sponsor came from Brandon Brown, who right now is running in the 15th position, but a good-looking car here. Maybe it was inspired by what he did on Twitter 2 weeks ago.
Race fans, this is incredibly tough to talk about, but I do know that there are going to be races that I'm going out unsponsored, nobody in the car, car's going to be blank. And I'm bringing the deal to you here at Vanderbilt Motorsports. You can come on down to the number 68 where we're for sale. You can see your company right here on this 68 Chevy Camaro Hot Rod. Are you tired of spending your company's hard-earned dollar on some of these garbage advertisements? Wow, come on down where the 68 works for you. We got quarter panels. We got deck lids. We got C-posts. You can sponsor my rear end. So come on down to Vanderbilt Motorsports where we have the fire deal and we'll take care of you.
What a great job by Brandon promoting his family business, trying to get that company to be able to take the next step with some funding to be able to compete with these guys on a regular basis. They do really well with the amount of money they have. It'd be really fun to see if they could get a little bit more money, how good they could do.
Yeah, he had a lot of phone calls to jump on board. KickingTheTires.com's on board for this weekend, but I bet when he made that video, he didn't think he was going to be on national television this weekend. But he went viral, and it worked. It did exactly what he intended it to do. It got him a lot of attention.
How about the Karate Kid kick instead of the roundhouse?
And
pretty athletic move.
He had a sound effect to go along with it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I like that.
It was
Very
spectacular.
nice.
Multi-talented.
Barker.
I did think that kick was my favorite part of that video, but I spoke to Brandon this morning. He actually told me that they did sign a prospective sponsor for a race later in this season. You never know where that could go. It could start with one race and build to a bigger one, but he was pretty proud of it. He couldn't tell me who it was yet, but he was excited about it. So it's really cool to see that content working for him and getting that sponsorship.
On the bottom of the screen, you see Brandon Brown battling with the 98 of Riley Hearst. It's been a battle for the 98 this year. You know, they lost Chase Briscoe, or didn't lose him, but he was promoted up to the Cup Series, so they lost him out of the seat of the 98. Riley came over. This is a new ride for him. Brought his sponsor Monster on board, and you know, Kelly, I know there was high hopes, but it's just been a little bit of a battle for this 98 to kind of get their rhythm this year.
Yeah, and one of the things that Riley told me has been a challenge was simply switching makes of cars. Of course, he was with Joe Gibbs Racing and Toyota last year, and he said, I thought that the car would run pretty similarly. He said that might have been naive and sound kind of like a race fan, but he said it's been completely different. So he and crew chief Richard Boswell have basically had to start things over. And I asked Riley if he felt pressure given what this team and this car had done last year with Chase Briscoe, and he said, nope, not at all. I knew that would be the first question I was going to get asked this season, so I put it out of my mind. He's obviously a different driver. This is a different situation, and without practices, to be on a new team with a different crew chief, it's been a big challenge for him, but the thing that they focus on most is that they've been heading in the right direction, and they feel good about where they are.
Yeah, Kelly, you mentioned Richard Boswell, his crew chief. He told us this week, he said, you know, we've been wrecking before we've been able to learn. And he said that's one of the hardest things right now is we need to learn.
Great battle right here for third position, Harrison Burton. Daniel Hemrick has ran him down. Teammates, relatively equal equipment right here, running different lines. The roof flap on that 18 car going crazy down the straightaway. Roof hatch right above the driver, it appears.
Do you hear that? Do you feel that as a driver?
I don't think he even knows it. No.
Yeah, I don't think you would notice it at all. Behind them, though, that 7 car sitting there running in 5th place. He is fast. Justin Allgaier has a lot of speed. The 19 behind him is fast also. Only 2 to go. You see this battle for position.
Third place, Hemrick moving up on Harrison Burton. And again, with 2 laps to go, they will close pit road, so no access to pit road inside of 2 laps of the end of the stage.
Austin Cindric with a 2-second lead over Kyle Busch is going to get a critical playoff point. Kyle's not going to sweep the stages. So these Xfinity regulars trying to get some very important points today.
Yeah, Kyle Busch obviously is a favorite coming into this race, but Steve, you said it before the race. These have not been just runaway races for Kyle.
Kyle Busch started on the pole, hasn't led a lap.
Yeah, these young drivers have stepped up their game, and he's won his races. Don't get me wrong, but it hasn't been easy for him.
It's been all Austin Cindric since the drop of the green flag. You mentioned Kyle Busch was up front, but the 3-wide pass for Cindric as they came out of 4 got him up front, and he led all 45 laps. He wins stage 1 here at Nashville. Now the race will be on pit road. See if you can either hold or improve your position for that restart at the end of stage 1.
This is an area, sorry, Rick, I was going to say, this is an area that I think Kyle Busch has the advantage. We talk about skill set. We talk about being a veteran. Now the feedback he can give his team to improve. That's my point is, can Cindric and Hemrick and those drivers continue to improve their cars?
A 3-time winner already on the season, Austin Cindric, the 22-year-old trying to defend a championship and beat Kyle Busch here at Nashville. You can go inside the headset with access to NASCAR Scanner for only $2.99 per month. Listen in on that pit strategy or the spotter communication, those crew chief calls, and hear what your favorite driver has to say during the race. Visit NASCAR.com/scanner to start your subscription today. Marty.
And guys, Myatt Snider out there in the 10th position, finished this stage with some points, but then under this caution, the car just shut off on him, and they have no power right now inside the 2-car, Parker.
Right, and also issues for A.J. Allmendinger in the 16. He fell back 2 positions, but he's having serious brake issues. He wasn't even sure he was going to get the car stopped here into the box. He does, but the team was having to check if even the brakes were on fire for the 16, Kelly.
Daniel Hemrick making a late move to finish that stage third. He started off tight, said it started to turn better, needs more free roll into 1 and 2, Marty.
Same as last week at Texas, Austin Cindric wins stage 1, but then they lost 3 spots on the first stop of the day, but they will not do that today. In fact, I think it's a tight race with Austin Cindric and Kyle Busch off of pit road, but I believe the 22 held serve. Kyle Busch, by the way, said he was loose, a little bit better as he went along, though.
Impressive by the 22 to beat the 54 in that pit stall 1, and as reported, see Myatt Snider coasting in.
That's just how close it was. Inches. Right in the middle of all the action on pit road is the Peacock pit box, and on top of it right now, Jack Collinsworth and Dale Jarrett.
Now this feels like being back at the racetrack, Dale Jarrett. This is unbelievable. Austin Cindric didn't waste any time on Kyle Busch with the early pass. What'd you see there?
I think that was really impressive because Kyle Busch had been out in his Cup car practicing and understanding what that upper line was doing. So that was really impressive that Austin figured that out, got out front, led every single lap of that first stage.
And Josh Berry, he's auditioning for new rides today. How's it going so far?
There's nothing like a driver that's really motivated. You're going to get the very best out of him. Not that he doesn't give that each and every week. This guy's so talented, but he's auditioning for a ride, plus he's in his home state. So those things are working together. Let's see what he can do here in stage 2.
Rick, we are racing in Nashville. Back up to you.
Yeah, a lot of fun. One thing that's not fun right now, I'm guessing, is for Myatt Snider. Marty, you mentioned a little bit, maybe there was an issue coming onto pit road. They're in their box. What's happening?
Yeah, they still can't figure out the issue. They did change the battery. That did not help, so there's no power on the car, and this team just can't buy a break. Remember, Charlotte a couple weeks ago, they were running 6, lost a cylinder in that race. Then last week, going to finish in the top 10. Josh Berry got into him, didn't mean to, at the end of the race. Now Myatt is inside the car trying to diagnose exactly what's going on. Andy Street, the crew chief, standing on the wall, actually, actually trying to guide the guys through what might be going on. But see, there's really no sign of life in the 2 car, and they can't figure out what it might be. Timmy Latiga is a longtime crew member. He's inside the other window, other side of the car, trying to figure out exactly what it might be.
Such frustration right now for this team. Already a win in the playoffs for Myatt Snider, but struggling today. Pit road had some issues. Colleague Racing, both the 10 and 16 struggled on pit road. And of course, Myatt Snider with that issue, but it's Austin Cindric and Kyle Busch coming back to the start of stage 2. Kyle Busch throwing it into turn 1. He'll take the lead away from Cindric. Can he hang on to it?
Obviously, with the top lane coming in, Austin Cindric picking the top made sense, but really no one in that top lane got going all that great.
Daniel Hemrick running in that 3rd spot, but trying to fight for 2nd.
Kyle Busch drove turns 1 and 2 like a guy that was frustrated in the first stage that he didn't get to lead this race. He knew he had to find a way back to the front.
Josh Berry got Saberberry off turn 4 a little bit.
How about Harrison Burton in the 20? Thinking better of making it 3 wide there as they went through 1 and 2. So Hemrick has moved up to 2nd. Cindric drops back to 3rd. Allgaier, Brandon Jones, the top 5. And here's a mess. Ryan Sieg in the middle with that 39. Here comes Jeb Burton trying to get back to the front.
Yeah, Jeb lost a ton of spots from 8th to 23rd on pit road, trying to drive back through the field. He has top 10 speed.
Brandon Jones right now on the bumper of Harrison Burton. Harrison up to 5th. Allgaier running in the 4th position.
Yeah, Justin's moved away a little bit from Harrison, trying to catch up to Austin Cindric there for 3rd. Good run for Michael Annett up here in the top 10.
Parker, what's the word on the 16? Looks like they served a penalty.
Right, so they had a pit road entry violation, which the team was very confused about. AJ Allmendinger coming on the radio asking what, and the team actually asking NASCAR what exactly the violation was for. Well, it turns out that it was before you enter onto pit road. Basically, as you're entering across the line, you should be in the outside lane. His pit stall is the first pit stall, so he went to the inside early before he ever went on pit lane. That is considered a pit road violation, and therefore put to the back. He's also fighting those brake issues, so the team came down and took off some tape on the front to get some more air to those brakes.
Thanks, Parker. I inquired with NASCAR. Kind of the same thing. I didn't see a clear violation for me, but they said they've been emphasizing this to the drivers, that they want to see guys when they come to pit lane establish themselves in the outside lane. So you're going to see right here, he just turns left across the nose of the 10, and he's never in the outside lane, right? He's to the left of the dotted line. He's to the bottom already. I think the 10 didn't know where he was going. He moves back to the outside, and that was what the penalty was for. I thought it had to be single file. Steve O'Donnell helped me during the break, cleared it up. He said it's not just single file, but we've told the drivers, start in the outside lane and then move left and work into your pit box, even if you're in the first pit stall.
Yeah, that's tough. Being in that first stall, you want to go ahead and start aiming in that direction, and that would be a natural reaction and instinct as a driver to do that. So that's a tough penalty to take.
Well, you see it every week. I mean, you see it every week. So if NASCAR's been telling the drivers, hey, we're going to start cracking down, I'm okay with that. If they just all of a sudden said you can't do that, that's not right. You see it, Justin Allgaier making a move right here on Austin Cindric.
Austin's going to use that momentum on the outside to get back by down the back straightaway. Justin's going to try to side draft and remain even close up on that quarter panel.
Remember, Austin Cindric started this race off leading the first 45 laps, but now that he's back there in that dirty air, he hasn't been able to move back up and challenge for positions.
Well, I think what we're seeing is that bottom lane on restarts is where you're going to want to go. And now, when do you start going to the top, right? Bottom looks pretty good. Get a few laps on tires, then maybe that top lane is where you want to go.
Well, listen, if this is the drinking word, you're going to have a long day, but I'm going to say it again. Control the race, right? Austin Cindric was controlling the race. He lost the position, and now he's kind of in the fight. They're on his rear bumper. The flip side, Kyle Busch, who had to battle the whole first stage to get back into the top two, he now has control of the race. You got to find a way to wrestle it back away from Kyle. Even without the best car, he's won 99 of these, right? Like, you can't give the guy the clean air, too. Easier said than done, but you're going to have to get creative. Still a lot of racing to go.
Just in that explanation, I did 4 drinks for you, by the way.
Yeah, well, you'll fit in. From what I saw on Broadway, you'll fit right in downtown Nashville.
Here's a good fight here. Jeff Burton trying to get back up to where he was. He was in the top 10.
Yeah, Jeb lost all those spots on pit road, but so did Gragson. He went from 11th to 16th position during that last cycle on pit road, and he too is trying to find a way to move forward, but there's just not been a ton of speed in this 9 car today. During that first entire run, he faded outside the top 10. Hopefully they made some changes that will make Gragson a little bit happier.
How about Brandon Brown stuffing the nose right in there? We keep talking about that smaller team. Seems to be racing kind of almost above his weight class a little bit up there with those 2 junior motorsports cars.
I mean, that's when you watch a driver. Look at this battle right here, pushing a 22 down the front straightaway. Justin Allgaier, he's going to follow him tight into the corner. Oh,
that's one thing. These Xfinity cars, 3 wide. Harrison trying the bottom. One thing with these Xfinity cars, those little small spoilers on the back of the deck lid. It's very easy to take the air off somebody. That's a tactic you can use when trying to pass them.
It also allows what we just saw with Justin to drive into the corner on that back bumper, the 22. You're not going to do that with a big blade on the back of these cars. But Justin's able to go in there and try to upset that car, try to upset the 22 by staying close.
Allgaier's like, Harris, if you leave me alone for a corner, I'm going to go by him. But you keep taking my lane underneath me. So once again.
Yeah, so the 7's getting bothered by the air from the 22 cars. The 22 moves around on the back end of that 7. It affects his car, and he's not able to make the moves that he wants to make. Not able to put the power down, get the car to turn, do things like that. Marty.
Hey guys, on that last pit stop as Justin Allgaier tries to go for that pass on Austin Cindric. Bailey Curry came down pit road. He had no brakes. He hit 3 of his crew members. Jeremy Gator, the front tire changer, was taken to the infield care center. 2 of the guys are fine. They're going to continue on, but they did take Jeremy to the infield care center. Jeremy gave me a thumbs up before he took off, but Bailey Curry came down pit road with no brakes and accidentally ran into 3 of his crew guys.
Yeah, that's really scary. As a driver, that happens quickly. I think one thing about this racetrack, we've talked about it all day, it looks like a mile and a half. It's not a mile and a half. You have to have cooling to these brakes. You have to do things differently here than you would at racetracks you've been running at, and I think the teams get surprised about that. Maybe the brakes got hot and just didn't have them when he came on pit road.
It's crazy, but it's a mile and a third, but the corner radiuses almost look like a 3/4 mile. Like it's just got long straightaways for tight corners. It's like a big Martinsville kind of.
So much excitement taking place on the track. Everyone fighting for position. You're not going to miss anything. We go NASCAR nonstop. You saw it in NASCAR nonstop. Stephen Parsons coming off of turn 4, sliding up and smashing into that outside wall. You see the damage to the front of that car. A lot of damage. Probably the hardest hit we've ever seen Stephen Parsons take. But he walked over. You saw the AMR safety team right there when he came to a stop.
Yeah, I'm looking at the car, that donut on the door. I don't know if he was underneath somebody off of turn 4 and had some contact that got him loose. First thing I saw was him down across the grass on the front straightaway and head on into the outside wall. Really lucky he didn't get hit heading toward that wall. But here, see, yeah, on the inside of, looks like maybe David Starr in the 66. A little contact right there, just turns his car sideways down the front straightaway. Just, wow, right, really close there for Mills in the 5. Very lucky to miss.
We talk a lot.
Look at the rear tires off the ground.
Tire off the ground.
Well, I was going to say, we talk a lot about the racetrack and keep it up and how great it looks. Remember, 10 years since a NASCAR race has been here, but soft wall all the way around this place, even on the front stretch, definitely helps this impact.
Not much I can say on that one. It's on me.
Forward, as long as you're right, bud.
Yeah,
hard shot.
They come up off the corner. Turn 4 is a tight exit. The cars are tight handling-wise. Got up against that. David gets next to the wall, and there's no room for him, nowhere he could go. Nothing David could do there. Stephen just gets into the inside of him a little bit. Contact sends him down across the track.
Stephen Parsons works really hard in this industry. He obviously wants to be a driver, but when he can't drive, he's spotting for other drivers, just doing everything he can to make his way.
Working in the shop on these cars. Yeah.
A little bit of split decision here. leaders stay on the racetrack with the 9 of Noah Gragson will peel off. I see Moffitt, Reddick, a few guys on pit road, Marty.
Interesting move, and NASCAR gave these teams an extra set. They had only planned for 4 sets for the race, but yesterday afternoon they gave them a 5th set to use for the race. So will teams take on fresh Goodyear rubber here or just come and make adjustments? It looks like Justin, the 9 of Noah Gragson is going to take on fresh tires as well. He said, I don't know what we need to do. We just need to get more turn in this race car. You saw the track bar adjustment for Noah Gragson, who's been struggling just with overall speed. Came to pit road running in the 9th position. Real quick update on Myatt Snyder is going to come back out here in a moment, guys. Steve, it was a bad master switch. You don't hear that very often. They were able to bypass it to make it work, so he'll be back on the track, but several laps down.
Yeah, unfortunate break. Myatt was running very well. Gremlins, electrical gremlins are always a tough, but a hard hit for the 99 of Stephen Parsons. Gets a little loose, just runs out of racetrack. Very lucky with no contact. 99 car, that one I think is junk grip.
Great racing on the racetrack. Rutt, the fans have been here for a great show.
Oh, they sure have, Rick, and they are back in droves from the campers to even my friends over here backing their trucks up to the edge of the fence, just like my friends at home at Sonoy Speedway. But look at it, everybody's having a great time. The fans are back. Nashville, man, it is hot out here, but what a great day for racing, Rick.
Now that's tailgating, Rick. We need to bring the tailgate to the facility.
We got a restart here. Kyle Busch choosing the outside line as opposed to the inside on the restart before.
I think old tires versus new tires. I think old tires, you probably want to be on the outside. New tires, it seems like maybe the inside. We're going to find out.
We've also got that teammate on the front row. May have made a deal with that 18 of Hemrick as they dive down into turn 1.
Hemrick's hungry. Never won a race before.
Hemrick's fighting hard on that inside. Trying to side draft, but I think the side draft from the 7 is going to stop that. You see going down into turn 3. Justin Allgaier now into second place.
He has done a nice job methodically working through the field of that 7 car.
Hemrick's going to fight back, though.
Hemrick's got a decision to make. Battle for this position or get in line. If it doesn't work out, he could lose several spots here if this outside lane gets piled up. But he drives it in the corner, just slides up in front.
Allgaier loses the back in front of the 22. That bottles him up. Harrison Burton to the inside, going to try to take both these positions.
That side draft happening again. Austin Cindric coming to the outside of the 20, and so now Harrison Burton checking up a little bit on the inside.
Yeah, so now watch what happens. Well, Cindric got loose, so that allows Harrison to move up the racetrack. Had they come off of that corner side by side, those two cars behind them would have gained a tremendous amount of momentum on them.
Oh, Jones just trying to go maybe 3 wide there.
And that's like, I'm down here.
Yeah.
I'm here, buddy.
Here comes Josh Berry in the 8.
Jones loses the back of his car. Now Josh is on the attack of the 19.
And then Michael Annette doing a really good job. Maybe his best race of the year so far. He's going to slide up. Spotter saying, not clear,
the 19, Jones almost brings it around. It's wild to see these guys sliding around so much on corner exit.
Comes Josh Berry trying to take that position away on the inside.
Yeah, it's not going to be a good position for Berry, stuck in there behind traffic, but he clears Jones. I'm surprised by that. I thought Jones would hang on the outside there.
Justin Haley to the inside in the 11.
Watch the 19 off of turn 4. Sliding right there, more and more and more. He's trying to push it, trying not to lift, trying to stay in that gas. You do not want to get off throttle. Great battle right here. Second place, Hemrick to the outside. Allgaier not able to complete the pass.
It's such a hard pass right there. When that outside starts working, you've got to be a fair amount better underneath the guy because you just lose grip. When you're alongside, now Allgaier just going to drive it in the corner too deep. Tried to slide him, didn't pull it off.
Man. A lot of catch your breath moments here.
This is for second, not the lead, by the way. He's going at it.
This is just a quagmire back here. This is 11, 19, 39, 98. Nobody's giving an inch. And it all has to do with the track prep. Nashville, Goodyear, and the work they've done, Junior, to give these guys multiple lanes is providing great racing.
Yeah, they got to be commended. NASCAR and Nashville Superspeedway using the resin. This is not the PJ1 that we talk about at a lot of tracks. This is different. It basically increases the opportunity for the rubber to get down on the racetrack and stay there, and it's really created a wide racetrack. If they don't use it, we have a single groove, bottom only racetrack.
How about this? Yeah, this fight for 8th there. Ryan Sieg all the way to the apron to try to get by Justin Haley. And now Haley fights back on the outside.
Talked about Brandon Brown with a little bit underfunded team. Well, so is Ryan Sieg. Ryan Sieg in that 39 car, battling with one of the heavyweights. Kyle Grayson with that 11 car. Justin Haley, the driver. Ryan Sieg and his family-owned team do a nice job.
I see that graphic of Sieg's car on the quarter panel, and I keep thinking it's a number. Like they've slid the number back to the quarter panel on that car.
Oh, don't start that.
11 to Justin Haley. Big news this weekend. Going cup racing for Colleague next year. Multi-year deal. Well, I'm going to tell you, talk about some excitement right here. He drives underneath the 22 with momentum, and watch this slide. Oh, boy. Oh. The only one happier than Justin Haley didn't wreck was Austin Cindric. Because if he didn't wreck, he was going with him.
Can I just tell you, when you can hear the rear tire squealing, you're in trouble.
Slide job worked for Justin Allgaier, or did it?
Oh, yeah. Nice work.
I don't know. The 18's hanging right there. Still getting a little bit of draft off the side of that car. He's going to give up the spot, though. What a fun looking racetrack. Let's listen to Justin.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so tough because he blocks like crazy, and he knew where I had to go. You know what I mean? Like, that's the hard part. Everybody's within a couple hundred, so you know, like finding the spot to pass somebody is such a big deal. You got to wait for him to make a mistake, or you got to force him into one.
You know what I like is that last thing he said. 104 to go. They're giving it taken. You get about 10 to go. There's going to be a lot more forcing and a lot less giving.
Marty.
6 to go in stage 2, Rick, and Justin Allgaier's done a terrific job today, up to second from 11th. And yeah, it's a game of inches, as he just mentioned in his radio transmission a moment ago. And he told his spotter Eddie DeHaan, who's back on the radio with him this week, a moment ago before that last caution, he said, hey, I don't think we have winning speed yet, but we're close. I think he's a little bit closer than he thinks. He right now looks like the guy that might be able to contend with Kyle Busch today, Kelly.
Michael Annett, what progress he has made up to the top 5 now. 16 positions he's gained, and he was one of the few drivers old enough to have raced here some 10+ years ago. He's had 6 previous starts here. And Annett compared it to Dover, another concrete track on the NASCAR circuit. He said, look, we've had a good success there, so he was hopeful about today, and it sure looks like they've got that #1 car dialed in, like I said, up 16 positions.
Austin Cindric, Justin Haley here continuing to fight on the racetrack. We heard Marty mention the fact about Eddie DeHaan back. He was suspended on May 26 after news of an arrest in Catawba County, North Carolina. He violated 2 issues with NASCAR. That's why the suspension came to light when all of the charges were dropped. Eddie DeHaan was reinstated. So NASCAR officials reinstated Eddie DeHaan. He's back up being a spotter for Justin Allgaier, and will also be back for Chase Elliott tomorrow.
Ready to go. Haley has got back to the rear bumper of the 22 of Cindric. He's going to try this again, hopefully with a little more success. But you guys see that momentum at the top, and then look, he loses momentum running the bottom, and he has to now protect for the 39.
We talked about how this racetrack's going to change. And this 22 car dominated stage 1, and now back here racing for 8th. So obviously, they didn't keep up with the changes, and there's no history. You don't know what this racetrack's going to do. It's never raced like this before, so a lot of big changes coming on this next pit stop.
Will they have another opportunity, Steve? They'll come in, obviously, at the end of stage 2.
Well, you have to pit in the final stage for fuel alone, so they'll have more opportunities. Just the question is, will it be under green? Will we have some yellows? The interesting thing, new tires haven't helped any of these guys. It's not like Gragson is driving up with those new tires, so the only advantage he really has is a little bit more fuel. I don't know if you could stay out, but at this point in the season, it might be worth the gamble. Stay out, get some track position, and just hope it falls your way.
Kyle Busch, almost a 3-second lead over second place Allgaier. Hemrick, Harrison, Burton, and Michael Annett top 5. Then it's Josh Berry, Brandon Jones, Austin Cindric, Justin Haley, and Noah Gragson. And so the caution is out. The end of stage 2. Kyle Busch wins it. Allgaier second. Hemrick, Harrison, Burton, Michael Annett. One step closer for Kyle Busch. He made the announcement that if he got to 100 wins, he'd retire from the Xfinity Series. Well, now we know he may keep going and add to that number. NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR. Visit gocreditone.com. And by Toyota. We're so lucky to have family members on this Father's Day weekend. Both Marty Snyder and Jeff Burton. Fathers of guys racing right now on the track. As we get ready for pit stops again. Kelly.
Daniel Hemrick will pit from the 3rd position. He leads all drivers with 16 stage points gained on the day. He said his front grip was getting better throughout the run, but then he started to slide the right rear. They're going to make a small adjustment. You see the wrench go in there. 4 Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel, Marty.
Justin Allgaier reiterated once again. He said, we're good, but we need to be a little bit better. Too free in, too tight in the center of the corner for him. Kyle Busch said, I need a little bit more overall grip, especially at the end of the run. That's where I feel like we're suffering a little bit. 7 has already left their stall, but Kyle Busch and his team will hold serve here on pit road and keep them out front.
Well, kind of out front, Marty, but he won't be the leader. The 9 of Noah Gragson stayed on the racetrack, rolling those dice. Got to try something. I love this gamble. We'll see if it works out when we return.
You're watching the NASCAR Xfinity Series Tennessee Lottery 250 from Nashville Superspeedway. Marty.
Hey guys, we talked about the Bailey Curry incident earlier today when he came down pit road with no brakes. We have found video of that incident, and watch this. And it's Jeremy Gator, who is the front tire changer. Oh man, he takes a ride and goes down. And again, he did give me a thumbs up. The other 2 guys you see there, they were fine. Jeremy did give me a thumbs up before he went to the infield care center. Steve, you've done this. I mean, you've had to be the guy who's gone over the wall for many years, and you once took a ride almost like that, but it was on the hood of a race car. Talk about the bravery it takes for these pit crew guys to walk out and run out in front of a car that's coming down pit road every day.
Yeah, we take for granted what all these men and women on pit road do and the risks that they take. You know, they've tried to make it as safe as possible with the addition of the helmet from back in the days before I did it and some of the other things, but it's still a human against a 3,500-pound race car. I'm actually going to applaud the drivers. They do a great job for the chaos that's on pit road to try to be as safe as they can, but no brakes is a scary situation. As you mentioned, I took a ride once, but luckily it was kind of over the hood, and it was not nowhere near as severe as that.
And you think, too, for the Cup teams on Sunday, the risk of their guys working these Xfinity races is very real. You could lose some of your speed on pit road at a very critical part of the season.
Absolutely, it's a great point. You got to balance that reps versus risk, and it's real up and down pit road. But so we wish everybody the best. Hopefully just some bumps and bruises, but it's a scary situation.
Pit penalties. The 98 was too fast. The 39 and 92 had uncontrolled tires, and the 47 an entry penalty.
And the 31 had a little bit of trouble. They dropped the car off the jack. Damage behind the left front tire. We'll see if it affects his handling.
Noah Gragson on the outside. He's the control car race leader. Kyle Busch on the inside.
Remember, Noah's on old tires.
For that to work, he's got to get by the 54 right here. He has to have this clean air. We'll see if he can take the momentum. Oh, man.
One of the best in restarts just got by him. So Kyle Busch out front, Noah Gragson running second, Daniel Hemrick up there in third.
And that's the problem. If Noah gets, behind this 18 or this 54 car, it's going to make the car drive even worse on those old tires. Now he's under attack from the 18 of Hemrick. I believe he's going to continue to start fading back into the pack. He's got to figure out a way to find somewhere to ride.
But now, Junior, your point, he was riding outside the top 10 beforehand. So I still like this gamble, right? Dave Ellen's saying, you know what? We need to get something going this year. Why not take a risk?
18 of Hemrick had problems off of turn 2. Really got slowed up. That allowed Harrison to drive underneath him. Now he's going to clear him. At 7 of Allgaier, we've seen the speed he has.
Don't look now, but right behind Gragson, the 2 other Junior Motorsports cars, Michael Annett, Josh Berry getting into the picture. Junior Motorsports Chevrolets looking pretty decent today, Marty.
And you talk about the gamble for Dave Ellens and Noah Gragson. Remember, they were running 9th when they decided to come down pit road. But, Steve, protecting that extra set of tires for this final stage, just too critical. That's why they didn't stop there. We'll see if that gamble pays off for them.
Oh, the one car.
Yeah, Michael Annett.
Yeah, the 22 gets up there and takes the air off the back of that car, getting Michael loose. Michael's trying to stop the bleeding here as Jones is going to get by on the inside. Oh,
so close.
And right behind these guys is A.J. Allmendinger, who's rebounded from an earlier pit road penalty in that 16 car driving back up through the field. He's going to try to take advantage of this.
What a race. There is action everywhere. Pick a battle. I mean, you just can't seem to get away from one another. You can affect each other's cars with the air, a lot of different lanes. Parker.
Junior, to your point on A.J. Allmendinger driving the field, remember he also had brake issues so bad he wasn't even sure they could continue, or maybe they were on fire. But the team, when they served that penalty, took some tape off the front end, got some more air to those brakes, and since then he has not commented on them, although he's obviously had a fast car driving all the way through the field here into the top 10.
And he told us we're supposed to start calling him Mr. North Carolina now, by the way, because his wife, Tara, just won Mrs. North Carolina. So he said, you can refer to me now as Mr. North Carolina.
We were mentioning the gamble that Noah Gragson has made to stay out on these old tires. He's sort of settled in 5th spot. So if that's where he ends up throughout the next several laps before he can get back to pit road for another set of tires, this is a good plan to get a ton of track position. He's not had the speed, really, to be honest with you, be in the top 10, but now the car seems to be running well. Clean air running up toward the front is helping.
So how does this work out for him? In my opinion, they run just long enough to get to that last fuel window, right? Like maybe 15 or 18 more laps, catch a caution. I think that will bring the whole field to pit road, and that the 9 can kind of get back on even playing field.
Steve, you mentioned a little bit ago, there's racing all over this racetrack. Watch Ryan Sieg trying to work himself up from the back of the field after that penalty. Little contact. Let's catch your breath after that one on the front straightaway.
He's under Riley Hearst, and Riley took left into the right front of that 39 car Sieg. Steve, you mentioned also about looking at Gragson here settled in 5th. The tires, there's not a. You mentioned under the brake, the tires aren't a big deal. We see a little fall off, but when do tires not matter?
Yeah, I mean, that's the funniest thing, right? He put on new tires in the middle of the last stage. He didn't really gain anything on new tires, and now he is on older tires. And I don't think it's the tires hurt him. No offense to the 9. I think that's as good a car as he has. It's about a 5th place car. So I think it's going to be all about track position as we continue into this final stage.
We'll go NASCAR nonstop. You won't miss a thing. The U.S. Open Golf Championship continues at Torrey Pines with final round coverage, 10 a.m. Eastern on Golf, and then noon on NBC. Steve, who's leading?
Bland, older gentleman, older golfer, first win this year on the European Tours, keeping the momentum up, comes over leading the U.S. Open.
Let's take a look at the Toyota driver update from here at Nashville Superspeedway. Kyle Busch out front, Harrison Burton teammate going there in second. Hemrick fourth and Brandon Jones sixth. So Joe Gibbs Racing looking pretty stout here.
And
Four
Rick,
of the top six.
You got me fired up. I got day racing from Nashville and primetime golf. I mean, there's a lot going on this weekend.
When you said he was older,
older, like older,
older to you or older to me?
He's well, no, not really older to me, but older than most of the rest of the U.S. Open field. How about that?
All right.
It's a year of the older guys. Elio Castroneves won. Indy 500. I'm telling you. Why not? Why can't it be his year?
Well, Allgaier got by Harrison Burton right there.
Speaking of old guys.
Yeah, Justin Scards really working well on the bottom. I really feel like there needs to be a change of mindset right here. I think that Harrison and Daniel Hemrick are committed to running higher. The 7 and the 8 are running lower. I know higher was better earlier in the race, but I think you need to adjust what's going on. Maybe get the cars down a little bit, see if they're better. At least try it. This track's going to change. We saw it at Texas last week. It seemed like higher was better for a while, but by the end of the Xfinity race, back low again was the way to go.
I want to give you an update too. Jeremy Gator, the man on pit road that was hit earlier, has actually been transported to a local hospital for further evaluation. We'll try to keep you abreast as to what happens there. And for more updates, Kelly.
Rick, about a lap or so ago, we saw that number 8 car of Josh Berry get around Daniel Hemrick, and now the man who started 22nd is now running 4th. Josh Berry told me that this season his biggest struggles were on the 1.5-mile tracks. This track a bit shorter, 1 1/3 miles, and he told me it really races more like a short track, so it played more to his strengths. And we keep talking about it his last time here at Junior Motorsports, but not last Xfinity race of the season. He'll be back next week with the 31 team. He'll also be racing a truck next week, and then he gets back to his full slate of late model races. So plenty of racing left on the year for Josh, just not here with Junior Motorsports. Parker.
One guy he passed on his way there into the top 5 was Brandon Jones, who spent a lot of this race between 5th and 7th. And speaking of Brandon earlier today, he said, you know, I can't believe we haven't won a race yet. Why? Because if you look at his last 10 races, his worst finish when they haven't had a problem is 8th. The problem with that, though, 5 of those races they had a problem, so they got to clean it up. So far today, it's been a very clean day. Although for all the Cup crew chiefs out there listening, he just reported brake fade, and that has been a consistent theme amongst many cars, Marty.
Parker Austin Cindric dominated and won stage 1, but it's been a struggle for the 22 team since then. You know, yesterday in practice on Friday here at Nashville, that car was extremely tight. And you see Cindric on the bottom of your screen. Now today, extremely loose. And when they lost that clean air up front, it got even worse for Austin as he tries to get Noah Gragson here for the 7th position. And when he's behind other cars, just even worse. So I think Austin Cindric, an example of 2 things. You got to have a good handling car here at Nashville, obviously. But if you lose track position, it is a massive penalty.
Well, exactly. And then it just compounds the issues, right? You're already having an issue. The car's not as good as it was, and then you get behind, and now you just don't have clean air, and your car drives horrible.
We are seeing a lot of the cars fading as the race goes on toward the bottom of the track, and that tells me they're making some great adjustments on pit road. You know, when this race starts, guys are sliding around probably really tight for the most part, and now they're getting their cars to work and turn and get around that bottom, make that bottom a little bit more competitive.
Yeah, Hemrick, Daniel Hemrick was really good early. He's fading. Harrison was good early. He looks to be fading. Cindric fading. But guys are coming forward. Josh Berry. Now Brandon Jones. They're moving forward. These other guys are falling back.
We saw the 9 of Noah Gragson fall back behind Austin Cindric. 44 laps on his tires, Steve. So when do we need to see him come to pit road?
He can go 65, even 70 laps on fuel. So he's got a long time before he has to come worry about it. He'd like to see a yellow. I think, you know, it's time to make some adjustments. They talk about other guys improving. This has been an okay gamble. It hasn't really helped. It hasn't really hurt. A lot of cool stories in the field. One that I think, you know, resonates with everybody in the news today is this crypto world. We see Voyager on the side of Landon Castle's car. It was announced Voyager is going to partner with Landon Castle and pay his sponsorship in crypto. Voyager is a crypto platform. You can both trade and invest your cryptocurrency. If you park it at Voyager, they'll pay you an interest, kind of like a crypto bank. It's a great story. I call it trendy, but we talk about technology in the cars. It's more than just the cars. You talk about worldwide technology and news stories. This is where they cross over into NASCAR. Landon Castle's been a big believer in crypto for a long time. I'll admit, I tried to have a text conversation about it. It was a little over my head, so I'm going to have to go see him in person. But just a great story and very creative by Landon. Glad to see some sponsorship. Glad to see Voyager in the NASCAR world.
Yeah, Steve, Landon is brilliant when it comes to cryptocurrency. And it reminds me of Russell Okung, who was a left tackle for the Carolina Panthers last year. Somehow he talked David Tepper into paying him in cryptocurrency for his entire contract. He got that cryptocurrency at about $23,000, $24,000 a coin, and then it went up to $60,000. So that's called tripling your money. That's not a bad gig if you can play the game correctly.
The whole timing of that is what always gets me.
Timing is always good. Right now, Harrison Burton trying to make his timing great to stay in front of Brandon Jones as we go NASCAR nonstop. Good side-by-side racing here. Harrison Burton continues to go the wrong direction right there. Daniel Hemrick was able to get by him.
I like, you know, 20 has gotten really tight in the middle of the corner.
I was going to say, Jeff, I like to say it's about adjustments other people are making, but we've only seen 2 pit stops. I just think that the track is going through a change. We're seeing some more success around the bottom of the racetrack. The 54 leading the race is running the bottom. The 20 just looks slow in the middle and just not changing direction. Kelly.
And that's what Harrison's saying. He needs more rotation out of that number 20 car with that pass by Daniel Hemrick. He falls just outside the top 5. When I talked to Harrison, you know, about a winless season so far, remember they won 4 times last year. He said it's actually pretty exciting because he feels like they're running better this year than they did in 2020. He said we've got a better average running position as well. They've just faltered on execution. There's been a few races where they really felt like they had a shot at the win, and one thing or another went wrong. And remember, this is another one of those new driver and crew chief pairings. He's with Jason Ratcliffe. And Jason stepped away from the Xfinity Series to go run Cup Series with Christopher Bell last season. He told me you'd be surprised how much has changed in just one season away from this series. So he said between a new pairing and the two of us and a notebook of my own that's too old to really go off, they've struggled a little bit to begin with, but they feel like they're really headed in the right direction. And Harrison Burton said he's excited about what they've got yet to come this year.
Steve, you talked about it earlier, Kyle Busch, right, with his experience and what I need with the car. You know, that 20 car was really fast yesterday, but right now, really like 8th, 9th, 10th place speed, just not able to keep up with the changes like they need to.
Yeah, we talked about this, Rick. You know, Kyle Busch, they needed to find a way to take control of the race from him. They did that in stage 1. They gave it back up in stage 2, and he's making them pay, and he's continue to give good feedback. It's a big day for Kyle Busch.
Yeah, definitely a huge day for Kyle Busch. He's one win away from a huge milestone in 100 wins in the Xfinity Series. He's been dominant in this series. He's been dominant in NASCAR. But there's only 2 other drivers in the history of NASCAR that have ever won 100 races in a series, and that's Richard Petty and David Pearson. And so Kyle Busch now in the Xfinity Series, those 2 drivers got their over 100 wins in the Cup Series, but now in the Xfinity Series, Kyle Busch going for really a historic number, 100 wins. This is radio.
Air pressure just feels high. Certainly our strength is the first 25 laps. You know, like some of them they can match with you here, but they're not really beating you unless you're in traffic.
So he's still wanting some turn in that car, and I've watched him run his laps. He's not right on the bottom. He's kind of up the racetrack a little bit like his teammates, which tells me that his car isn't quite turning as well as he'd like. If it was turning, he'd definitely be right on the bottom. But the Junior Motorsports cars seem to be working down there, and I don't know if this track continues to get tighter and tighter, if that's a benefit for the Junior Motorsports car.
Well, what I was going to say is what that radio does remind us is, you know, he's out there to a 4-second lead. I think you could tune in and say, oh, man, Kyle's perfect. He's driving away. It's not what I heard, right? I heard the crew chief say, hey, you know, there's guys matching your lap times. I mean, it's far from a runaway. I think, you know, you get a pit cycle, kind of bunch you back up, and he knows how easy the race can be given away.
The other thing they've talked about was the early run speed. He sets that 2-second lead in the first 5 laps. That's something that the field also has to stop.
Jeff, what's in every long run?
There is a short run.
There's a short run in every long run.
Parker.
Well, guys, you see the bottom there of the screen, the 10 of Jeff Burton. We heard the brake issues that A.J. Allmendinger had earlier in the race, and now Jeb coming across the radio and saying his brakes are now going to the floor. He's trying to pump them up down the straightaways with not too much success in this time. So right now, fighting brake issues, trying to cool them down and let that car roll and just not use that brake. That's the only way you're going to get them back to have any braking power inside that car.
Hey, if I'm a Cup crew chief, I'm paying attention to this. I think I'm putting a little brake cooling in for tomorrow. They have 750 horsepower, low downforce. They're going to be carrying speed into the corner using the brake. Dale Jr. don't like that?
No, I like it. I just never thought we'd be talking brakes.
Oh, I agree. That's why
at a 1.3-mile racetrack.
Right.
But they are definitely something to talk about. And how about the Country Music Hall of Fame here in Nashville? Man, what an incredible place for us to be racing. Kyle Busch has experience winning at Nashville. He's trying to win once again in the Xfinity Series. One win already, has a guitar, has won also in the Truck Series. Guitar's there as we see Josh Berry in the 8s on pit road now. Kelly.
So he'll be among the first here to take advantage, get to some fresh Goodyear tires. Josh Berry saying that he was a little bit tight off on that last run. We'll see what those Goodyear tires can do, and perhaps an air pressure adjustment.
Taylor Moyer being aggressive, the crew chief of the 8 car. He was running inside the top 3. Kyle Busch is proving how much speed he has, so you got to do something different. He pits early, and oh my goodness, the only thing he couldn't see was a yellow.
Yeah, Brandon Brown right there with the right front tire down.
So it's great to gamble, but only when it works.
Yep.
Now he's going to be a lap down. He'll be able to stay out, though, Steve.
Yeah, he'll cycle back around. He'll get the wave around for sure. Yeah.
But still, there's 19 cars in the lead lap.
That's how it always happens. Anytime you try to be aggressive and come down pit road first, it never really works out like you hope.
And it's so exciting,
Four tires, piece of brake duct tape. We started the race with more open than anybody out there, man.
Noah Gragson, though, you have to look at that and say, okay, he's 9th when the caution comes out. So a good gamble there. Got him a couple spots.
So it sounds crazy, but the one thing, I mean, I don't think anybody will gamble on 2 tires, but I don't want to sleep on it only because the truck race was kind of won on 2 tires.
You have to wonder too, Steve. You know, look at the smoke coming off of the 68 car on pit road. They popped the right front tire. Was that a bead? Was that a temperature issue?
Great question.
Because we heard that on the radio conversation. I'm thinking that was the 68 car talking about the air and cooling they had to the brakes.
Well, so let's talk about this for a minute. When we go to a short track, Goodyear brings a tire designed for the short track, and one of the design changes is the bead, the area of the tire that touches the wheel, is very durable for brake heat. We see them glow at Martinsville, right, and the tires are fine. But this is an intermediate track with intermediate tires. I haven't spoken to Goodyear. I'm not sure exactly what bead's in there, but if the brake heat is being miscalculated by these teams, obviously people are having trouble. Part of the failure isn't brakes, it's actually the tire, so that could be the issue on the 68. One more thing, if I was a Cup crew chief, maybe I'd be opening just a little bit more now after that conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah, I didn't see much damage there to the right side, so it's not contact or anything like that to bring the tire down. So luckily, Brandon will take that car back on the racetrack and should be good to go.
And to your point,
oh no, he's going to the garage here. Must have an issue with the brakes
or drug the sway bar arm off. We saw a lot of sparks. He could have drugged some suspension pieces off. Jeff, you brought it up just to confirm your question.
Take the right front tire off, see what we got.
Josh Berry is 23rd, 1 lap down, so when all the leaders pit, he'll be fine.
And Steve, he's done, right? Because he brought the caution out and now he's into the garage.
I would assume he was on the damaged vehicle policy. I haven't heard from NASCAR. There was no contact, you know, as far as, it's not whether you bring the caution out or not, it's whether you were in the accident. So I assume that was for a flat tire, but if it was for the debris that came off that car, there's a chance he's not on the damaged vehicle policy. He wasn't involved in an accident, as crazy as it sounds, driving around dragging.
Right.
So we'll have to see how NASCAR rules that. If it is for the debris of the tire, he's safe. If it is because he was in an accident, if he did say even brush the wall, that would be a different issue.
So that was a big deal for them because he was only 24 points out of the playoffs currently. So obviously in the garage, he's not going to have a good point day.
Rutledge.
Rick, I tell you what, if you want a great place to watch, it is right here in these grandstands. Look at all these fans today. We know there's going to be even more here tomorrow. And the action from this view looks so good. Guys, one thing I wonder, I heard Stephen Parson this morning, I was talking to him about the turns. He said they look really deceiving. They're so wide going in, but super tight going out. So from a driver's perspective, is that where we're seeing some of that, the cars getting loose going out of the turns? It's really just, there's not a lot of real estate?
Well, not a lot of real estate because the corner of the exit, the wall, you just run out of track as you go on corner exit. Now we see the leaders on pit road.
You see Brandon Jones right here just trying to get some more rear grip to keep his arc large into the corners, pitted out 3rd place position, 4 tires in fuel, Kelly.
Daniel Hemrick says he just has no lateral grip. The car's driving off the right front. They made a chassis adjustment. 4 tires and fuel, Marty.
Justin Allgaier said, I'm just too free on entry, too tight on exit. That's been the case all day long. We have to fix that. Kyle Busch's team delivers. They easily keep the lead here on pit road. Kyle said the car started too tight, got freer as they ran, too free at the end, but this caution going to change the game. We'll have a nice restart here, Rick.
And NASCAR let us know no DVP. Brandon Brown can return after repairs.
Kyle Busch, Allgaier, Cindric, Annette. a good view of the Grand Ole Opry. Buddy, Kyle Petty will be there this evening.
I bet he's nervous. Golly.
That aerial view brought to us by Geico. I'd be nervous too, but he said he's up there on stage by himself. He's got a few songs.
That doesn't make it better.
What are you talking about?
Yourself? You're talking about Kyle Petty. He
he's not scared.
He ain't gonna. He's playing it off. He's nervous.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'd be nervous.
Run through a question at you guys earlier about the entrance into 1 and the exit out of 2. If it was a little bit wider going into 1, maybe a little narrow when they come off 2.
Well, I think Stephen Parsons was talking about how the track looks wide when you're sitting here in the booth or in the infield, but on the track in the car out there with other competitors is actually quite narrow and tight, and that was the issue he thinks led to him having his accident. And I can kind of understand that. I mean, the groove narrows up a little bit out on the racetrack, and when you're trying to run side by side at a place anywhere really, it definitely makes things a little tricky.
I almost feel like it's a mindset. I almost feel like coming here you have to be thinking Richmond, Iowa, not Michigan, Charlotte, right? It looks like a big racetrack. The straightaways last forever, but the corners are really, really tight.
I guess that's what people mean when they say it races like a short track. I've always kind of wondered what they mean by that, but that's probably it.
Only 14 degrees of banking here in the turns. Kelly.
So a little bit of a gamble by the number 18 and crew chief Taylor Moyer. Didn't quite work out with that caution. When it came out, Taylor Moyer saying, "You've got to be kidding me," but then here's what they've said, well under caution.
It was worth the risk, man. We were going to make out like a bandit there. You're going to jump the 7 and get closer to the 54. Can't help that somebody has a flat tire.
Yep, just like Forrest Gump said. Happens.
That's right. Long race to go. You'll be just fine here, buddy.
Don't get me too hyper. You know what I'm capable of after last week.
So remember, he started this race 22nd. When he came to pit road, he was 3rd. Now he lines back up 21st. We'll see if he can do it again.
So an opportunity to maybe finish in the top 5 now looks like maybe an opportunity to try to get back to the top 10. And that's the tough part about a situation like that. They were taking a gamble and it didn't work out, but still some good speed in that car. Now we have to sit around and we've got the 18 car. The field's bunched back up. Sorry, the 54 car leading the race. The field's bunched back up. Allgaier in 2nd. Has the pace on the long run. Now we need to see this short run pace where they can keep him close, keep Kyle Busch close to be able to make it a fight.
The longest green flag run today has been 46 laps. So we're at 42 laps here. You're calling that a short run?
I wouldn't call it a short run. I think 25 laps is about as, that's the time where I think Kyle's going to be really quick, and that's when Justin and these guys can't be fighting amongst each other and slowing each other down and allowing him to get that 2 and 3 second lead in those first 25 laps, because the lap times do even out on the long run.
Marty.
Have a replay of last week at Texas. Justin Allgaier trying to catch Kyle Busch. This time you get the benefit of a caution. Can he pass the 54?
No, I don't know. The car's been really good all day. We haven't, unfortunately, we haven't been up front on the front row to see really what we got compared to him. So, we'll see. We'll see right here where we end up. A good restart, get in front of them, and never know what can happen from there.
There you go. So 41 to go when they get the green, Rick, and the strength of the 7 all day long has been the long run. Can he keep the 54 in sight? That's the question.
I love my man Burdett right there. I'm not sure he was going to answer the question. He's like, I don't know. I'm not going to tell you if I know. But he does bring up a good point, though, of not having this shot yet. Lining up on the front row is way different than any other row, just the clean air and how it fires off. So drivers is handicapped. Does Kyle have a big advantage because he's had the different shots on the front row today?
I like the lane Allgaier's in. I like the bottom right here. I think the bottom of these restarts is better. I think he's got a shot.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier. You like new tires, bottom groove. And that might be an opportunity for the 7 car.
You guys mentioned Cup drivers are going to be watching, obviously. Qualifying tomorrow at 11 in IndyCar Series from Road America. That leads up to countdown to green. Brad Paisley Jr. will get us started. And then racing. Nashville Superspeedway. It's a Cup Series tomorrow. We're about ready to find out. With 40 to go, can Kyle Busch hang on?
It's a great start by Kyle. He's got help behind him. Hemrick's not going to try to make it 3 wide or do anything that puts Kyle in a bad position. The 7 rolls that bottom, though, is going to stay even with the 54 off turn 2.
Side by side down the backstretch.
Let's see what happens down here in turn 3. I think the 7's now in the preferred lane on the bottom. Kyle's going to get back here on the right rear quarter panel and side draft down the front straightaway.
No, Allgaier wanted to hear clear so badly, he just wasn't.
And now Allgaier does not side draft 18, but he's going to be able to get down into turn 1, still on the inside. Rolls that bottom again, staying side by side with Kyle.
Gonna try to pull him back right here on the quarter panel if he can. He does it.
I think Kyle Busch does it again. He backs up to this quarter panel so he can get that side draft. He's going to move down. Right here in side draft. He's going to get a little help from his teammate with a real possibility of clearing that 7 car into turn 1. Allgaier back to the inside, rolling that bottom.
Now Allgaier's got to do exactly what he did. Just block right there, block the 18, take that run away.
And why didn't Allgaier side draft the 54 there? He had an opportunity. He runs up on the back bumper here to the inside, gets the 54 loose.
Firing off fairly well here.
Look at this. Here comes Allgaier.
Allgaier trying to get away from him all the way to the grass.
Quarter.
Allgaier needs a net back there to get up there and have a teammate pushing him. I think that's helping the 54.
Oh,
This might
bring it
work.
on up, bring it on up.
He's going to take it away.
Slides in front of him. Allgaier's in front.
You talk spotter, has his spotter back. You heard the spotter there. Bring it up, bring it up. Clear instruction to Allgaier to clear Kyle Busch.
That's a great point, Steve. The spotter you're accustomed to, you trust him. Back this week.
And now Allgaier up front with 36 laps to go. Kyle Busch running second. Hemrick is third. Hemrick's never won before in the Xfinity Series. Michael Annett and Harrison Burton the top 5.
Kyle Busch isn't going anywhere, though. Not going to let Allgaier get too far away. I don't know what the handling issue is on that 18 or the 54 car, sorry, that is creating these problems where he's lost his lead and lost control of the race, but he's going to drive back up there, I believe, and bring the fight to the 7.
Yeah, he starts tight almost every run, and that's the case this time as well, but they get better the longer they run. But that's been the strength of the 7 car, the long run as well. This one's certainly not over.
So this is where the spotter comes into hand for the 7 car of Allgaier. He needs to be told where Kyle's running. If Kyle's going to stay back there, stay close, he's going to be moving around looking for clean air himself. So the spotter for the 7 car needs to get that information to the driver and say, this is where Kyle is. Go up there and take that air away.
Almost 0.4 of a second. Separate.
Oh, there's a wreck in turn 3 and 4. Joe Buford into the wall. The 51, I believe. Oh, the 17. Oh, he's upset.
17:48. Making contact there, and the caution comes out. There'll be another restart.
I saw Joe Buford get loose on the inside. Spin up the racetrack and take the 17 car. Graf.
Yep, unfortunate. Jade Buford from right here in Nashville, Tennessee. There's Joe Graf Jr.
Joe Buford's day started out really well. Really good qualifying effort. Jade Buford.
So he's got some damage to the, I believe, the track bar.
That guy rammed us on purpose.
After the fact. I believe the track bar or something's been on this 48 car, but not too terribly damaged compared to Joe Graf Jr., the 17 car, pancaked the right side.
Afterward, I'll tell you that.
May not have had the brakes to stop from hitting Joe. Jay. Heavy damage right there to the back and the front.
And poor Allgaier's thinking, man, I just got
by.
None of this 54. I don't want to do this all over again.
Jade got up the racetrack and got into the 17 of Joe Graf. And you can make your own judgment on that one.
Well, if I'm in the 17, I'm driving into his left rear because I feel like he drove into my left rear. So I'm gonna get even.
Well, you know, it is easy to say that he didn't.
I'm not saying he didn't.
Well,
but he could have had no brakes.
Something interesting there is I think that is what just broke the track bar on that 48 car was that shot in the left rear. So if he intended to do some damage to that car, he did.
Yeah,
he succeeded.
And I'm not saying that the 48 wrecked him on purpose, but he's still the reason he was spinning. So he was like, I'm gonna get even with you.
AMR safety team was there right away once again.
Yeah, glad to see him get out.
Our mount is destroyed and the track bar's bent. It's pretty bad.
talking about the track bar mount, and that car's not going to be able to finish the race.
So the caution has come out now, and that means it will be a sprint to the end, but not for Joe Graf Jr. Getting ready for another restart. And Steve, as you mentioned, the spotter's so important for what Justin Allgaier is trying to do here, stay in front of Kyle Busch. He has back on the spotter stand Eddie DeHaan. Now, Eddie DeHaan was suspended by NASCAR on May 26th after news of an arrest in Catawba County, North Carolina. 2 misdemeanor charges. He did not report those to NASCAR. That's a violation of one of NASCAR's rules. He violated 2 of those rules, and so he was then suspended. Those 2 misdemeanor charges have been dismissed. He was reinstated by NASCAR and now back up on the spotter stand. Give those charges assault and battery.
Eddie DeHaan, he spent 3 years spotting for Kyle Busch. So does that give him a little advantage to help Justin Allgaier right here? He knows Kyle Busch, knows the kind of driver he is. Is there something he can give him that could help him?
And we saw last time, this is going to be a game of inches. You're not going to clear by car lengths. As soon as you have a clearance, you have to take the spot.
And another thing, too, the 7 car chooses the bottom. Both lanes have teammates behind them that will push. They will not attack. They will not go 3 wide.
I don't believe that.
I do. I feel like I'm pretty right on that one.
29 to go. Justin Allgaier on the inside. Kyle Busch on the outside. Green flag back in the air.
Quarter, he's got a push. No push for you. Back to door. Pushes off of him. Even up. Door. Coming back to you. Gap of 2 behind both you. Tight door.
Oh, the
tight,
7's loose.
Oh.
Sideways.
Oh, it's caught there.
They wreck behind him. Hemrick's in it.
Wrecking behind
so
you.
Michael Annette on Cindric up into the wall hard. Caution is out.
Caution's out.
My goodness. That was some drama right there. The intensity is picked up.
Brandon Jones is in front of the 54 and the 7 right now. We'll see where they were when the caution came out. Loops on the racetrack. They'll go back to the previous loop for when the caution came out to determine who is up front.
I mean, the battle is unbelievable. Just,
I can't believe everybody got a part of that. I mean, it was happening all over the place. I can't wait to see some replays.
it was like the slowest developing wreck we all saw coming, but you had no choice but to stay in the gas.
Look at the tire marks down the right side of that 7 car, leaning on that 54 Kyle Busch. Dirt track in it, turning up off turn 4. Here we go. Let's take a look. See how all this developed. So the 7's not got any side force except for the fact that he's leaning on that 54. 8 tires stick better than 4.
But the wreck started back there.
Yeah. Man, I'd like to see another look at that, just how the 1 and 18 got together and what happened.
And this hit right here by the 22, if you see upper the top right, man, he takes a huge wreck. Here's your look, Junior.
Yeah. So the 1, the 18 sees what's happening in front of him and tries to run low off the track to avoid, getting into anything that's happening in front of him, and just really doesn't give the guys below him a lot of room. So the 18 of Hemrick sees this, and he's thinking, I'm going to miss these guys. They're getting into each other, wrecking or something. So he cuts down the racetrack, and all this happens. Wow, that was a hard lick. Let's watch inside that 22. Let's ride along for that impact.
Watch him stacking up here up top. Watch him stacking. Coming low, 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 low. Hold the street. Here comes one more car.
This is with Haley.
Just wreck up here. Check up right front. Go straight. Go straight. Watch this 22. Stay low. Stay low. Stay low. Caution. Caution. Caution.
They're both up the track racing hard, and then right here they get together. Watch this 22, and he gets clipped right here. Sends him up in front. Look at the flaps on the 20 car. That car was so close it blew the flaps up on the hood.
2 really, really violent hits into this front straightaway outside wall, head on. Both drivers able to get out, walk away.
We keep talking about the guy on the bottom, how hard it is for him to pass, but you need that spot, right? If you ever get that spot, they may not ever take it back from you, and just aggressive racing with only 26 to go.
There you see the tire lettering rubbed off that left rear of the 54 Kyle Busch. He's weaving her back and forth trying to keep those tires clean, but also trying to make sure he doesn't have any kind of a leak in that left rear with the contact from the 7. They've cycled Kyle to the front. Allgaier in second, Jones in third.
Is that a concern? The exhaust is on the right side. It might have got into that tire.
It would be flat if that was the case at this point. That would cut the tire so quickly, but just any kind of slow leak or from rubbing another car is possible, but I think they're just trying to keep those tires clean. There's a lot of debris and tire. You see it on the track. There's a lot of debris that those tires are going to pick up. They're hot, and those guys want to be able to get down in the corner and turn 1 hard on the restart with clean tires.
Let's listen into the 7 radio communications.
I mean, how much do you want to lean on a guy's door? This is a long way from over. You just stay chill. We're going to get it. Yeah, 10-4. This is war. Let's go. Yeah, copy.
I was wondering if he was talking to his driver or talking about Kyle.
You could have cut that radio and said it was the 54s, and it would have made sense there, too.
I mean, the 54's job is to keep the 7 behind him, right? And he's not going to give him room beside him. He wants to take the air off that spoiler. Now, when you do that, you put yourself in jeopardy of that 7, of the car underneath you getting loose and getting up the racetrack. You know what that is? That's racing. That's just plain and simple. 2 guys going for the win, Marty.
Let's chat with Chris Gale here and just make sure that Kyle Busch's car is okay. So any damage from that, Chris, after that contact with the 7 car?
Other than the rubber rubbed off the left rear tire, no, it's good otherwise. Just need a clean restart here and kind of take control of the race. I think that's the biggest thing. Obviously, it's been a couple weeks in a row where the 7, kind of sneaks up and gets their car better and better and are challenging with us at the end of the race, after we've had a pretty dominant car. So we just, need to get another good restart like last week and in clean air, and I think we'll be okay.
So you asked Kyle about the restart and what lane. And he said, I have no idea what to pick. So what advice are you going to give him here in a moment?
Yeah, I was asking about the restart lane. I think he said, you know, the car needs to turn better, so he was focused on that.
There you go, Chris Gale hoping that he can get win number 100 for Kyle Busch in the Xfinity Series.
Well, you heard it. We've said it all the time. Control the race. Even the crew chiefs are thinking it. They know they need it. And these two have history just a week ago. Texas Motor Speedway, the same two players at the front. Allgaier had the car that looked like he could outrun the 54 of Kyle Busch, but it was a restart where Kyle Busch got a great launch, took back control of that race. Friendly there with the fist bump, a little less friendly here today. This is that last restart, drivers. This is some tight side drafting.
I think the bottom of the racetrack's better on new tires, but when the guy on the outside of you does, you know, is pulling the air off your car, now Justin's chasing that car up the racetrack. They both did a great job.
Well, and Dale, you mentioned they both had teammates on the last restart. Well, both teammates were just eliminated right there. So now at least there's another teammate back there, the 19.
Yeah.
So we'll see if how they stack up. And look at Allmendinger kind of back in the picture. I mean, we haven't talked much about him since his penalty. Now he's sitting here in fourth.
I just can't believe what a great race we've seen today, and it's just going to get better to the end here. I'm hoping that we see more battles for that lead.
Had the caution not come out behind him, Brandon Jones would have been leading this race. Parker.
Right, and he's had some suspect restarts, but saved the best one for right there with his crew chief, Jeff Bendering. That was a great restart for him. Did you think you should have been in the lead when he crossed ahead of them?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell. I mean, from where I'm sitting, of course. But, yeah, it's hard to tell. Obviously, Stevie and Brandon did a really good job avoiding that wreck. The Delta Menards Super has been getting better and better this whole race. We've been tuning on it, and I think we finally got it where it needs to be. So looking forward to this last run.
What lane do you want him to be here in the restart?
He ran the outside really good that last one, so probably the outside.
Look for the 19 to the outside, guys.
A lot of action here today. Looking forward also to next weekend. NASCAR Xfinity Series are going to race on Sunday, so it'll be kicking off a doubleheader. It's going to be racing on NBCSN Cup Series to follow. Race coverage beginning at noon Eastern. Steve, I love NASCAR America Motor Mouth. So interactive.
So interactive, so much fun. We break down the race. We look forward to the next race. But what makes the show? The fans. The fans can call in. They can talk to us. More importantly, they can talk to our guests. We've had a lot of race winners on. Both in the Xfinity and the Cup Series have joined us. So if you're a fan and your driver's joining us, call in and send us. It's streams Monday and Wednesday, 6 to 7 on Peacock, and you can download Peacock at peacocktv.com.
Yeah.
So in every wreck, there's winners and losers, right? Well, in that case, Josh Berry, they gambled a little bit ago. It bit them. They lost their track position, got back on the lead lap, started at the back of the pack. That helped him a great deal. He is restarting with a very fast race car in 10th position right here with probably 20 to go when they drop the green. Not saying he can get the win, but racing each other like that at the start, you never know what can happen. But a nice recovery with a really good shot for a good finish here.
Lane choice, lane choice, lane choice. We hear it, we see it down in 1 and 2. I guess, how about the acceleration lane? I mean, they cleaned it up pretty good, but does any of this damage the speedy dry? I mean, what's rear traction? In Atlanta, we see rear traction be an issue, but here, it seems like they launch pretty good. It's more who can carry momentum in 1 and 2. So I'll ask you then. Everybody else is giving their opinion. Junior, what lane are you taking?
I think the outside. I mean, you just saw how hard it was for the 7 car of Allgaier to get grip down in the middle of 3 and 4 and almost wrecked his car. So I would stay on that outside if I was Kyle Busch, because you have more control over the side draft, over what that guy on the inside can do, how much room he has to work. So I'd definitely be on that outside line.
Well, you can see Kyle Busch is listening to you. He went to the bottom. Brandon Jones, crew chief, said he wanted him in the top. That's where he went. Allmendinger on the bottom. Harrison to the top. Everybody can pick their lane right now. Just cannot hit your tires on that orange box, but you can go left, you can go right, wherever you want to go.
Cousins will be side by side in row 3. It looks like Jeff Burton, Harrison Burton. Marty.
Rick, a moment ago, Justin Allgaier and Eddie DeHaan broke down the last restart. Here was that and the motivational speech as well.
What sucks the most about that whole deal was the fact that I was darn near clear of him when we got to the start-finish line. And then by the time we got back to turn 1, he was already completely outside. And
the 18 was outside of me as well, you know?
Yeah, I mean, these restarts are all about your partner behind you, but said your whole family was here today. We're going to win it for the family.
Yeah, buddy.
And when he says the whole family, he means the whole family. There's Dad, Mike. He's at every race, but the other 40 family members are not at every race. They're here today. Riverton's about 6 hours away. They want to see their favorite son, Justin Allgaier, get to victory lane.
Well, if it's all about teammates, outside lane, Gibbs. Can they work together?
Here we go. Kyle Busch on the outside. Justin Allgaier on the inside. 20 laps to go.
Kyle gets a great launch. The 7 drives back up there, though. I think the 7 got a little bit of help from the 16 behind him. Oh, the 7 trying to get grip, can't do it. Off turn 2, Kyle Busch is going to clear him.
A little side drafting here out of A.J. Allmendinger, and the 16 trying to get by Brandon Jones.
Man, I thought it was game over. The 7 thinks otherwise, rolls a great 3 and 4 right back to his rear bumper.
Allgaier's fast. He's going to really have a difficult decision. He knows where Kyle's going to go to the bottom, take his line away from him.
See if he can stay close. Want to let you know Austin Cindric in the 22, Jade Buford in the 48. Both have been evaluated and released from the infield care center.
It's great news. Big hits. A lot of big impacts.
0.2 of a second lead right now with 18 laps to go. Kyle Busch trying to get to win number 100. Justin Allgaier trying to get back by him.
Kyle not right on the bottom of the racetrack, just a little bit off the bottom. That gives a little bit of air to the left front fender of that 7 car of Allgaier to keep a little downforce on the nose. He hopes that Kyle keeps doing that.
A little extra motivation. Harper and Willow are here today for Justin Allgaier on this Father's Day weekend, and they're actually on the car. So Harper on the driver's side, Willow on the passenger side of the car. So a little extra motivation for Justin Allgaier.
This time Kyle right down against the apron, taking that air away. Smart move by a veteran driver.
The question is, when do you go to the top? When does Allgaier try something different? Or Kyle Busch, when does he try something different? I think Kyle just runs the bottom until Allgaier tries something else.
Oh, Allgaier into the apron a little bit right there. You see it. Cost him a little bit of speed, trying to get a little bit lower. Battle for third, Jones ahead of Allgaier, or ahead of Allmendinger. And then Harrison Burton rebounding a little bit with his pace up in 5th place.
That long run we read a little while ago, they had that a right rear tire going down. So, Steve, that's always a concern. Like when you have a problem, did you make the right adjustment? Your tire was going down. You think your car was doing something, but it was because the tire was going down, not because of the suspension.
Right, exactly. Look at this battle. 3 wide on the front stretch. Haley in the middle of the sandwich. 61 right behind him. Hill just outside the top 10. He's waiting for this to try to settle out and see if he can drive inside the top 10.
Noah's been in a battle all day long. At the racetrack. It just seems like every time we look at Noah, he's around a bunch of cars. It's been a big battle for him today.
These two side by side. Sideways contact.
Spins down the track.
That brings out the 7th caution.
Great job by everybody to avoid Sieg. I'm sure he's glad that he's able to get that car righted and drive away.
All right, we're going to pit here, guys. Get caught up, and we'll pit for 4 tires.
Hood flaps has to stay on there, right, Steve? So they'll have to
It could be gone. No, it could be an open hole. You just can't block the hole.
Just can't block it.
Yes, you can replace a flap or not replace a flap, but the hole can't be sealed.
Yeah, that flap's meant to open to keep the car on the ground when it spins. So if it stays open, it's safe.
Yeah, it's
right?
safer.
It's safe. It does that.
So they talked about him coming to pit road to get 4 tires. Who else would come to pit road? Does anybody have tires left, Steve?
There are teams that have tires left. We just haven't seen an advantage. But I think if I'm Gregson or Haley or Herbst back there just outside the top 10, at some point you're going to have to give it a try, I think.
You can see Sieg drives it in the corner. Just like we saw with Allgaier and Busch, just the back of the car comes around and
he was okay.
Take anybody with him.
I think he was okay until the contact from the 11.
Yeah.
Sent him right around. I think he might have been able to save it. but Haley had nowhere to go, trying to go up the racetrack, right into the right rear quarter panel.
Pretty big dent in that left front. They might have to pit to work on that. I mean, there's so many cars in the lead lap, it's just so hard to recover. Although Josh Berry did it, he's all the way back up to 6th.
Yes.
Only 13 to go. Marty.
Hey, Rick, to answer the question, yes, all of these teams have an extra set of tires, and I see a number of teams scrambling here. Pit road is open this time. Looks like Noah Gregson will be certainly one of those that pits. He'll pit from 9th, but I would bet the guys up front, Steve, no way you're pitting if you're Kyle Busch, right?
No, absolutely not. I'm not pitting from the top 5, but if I'm back, you know, high single digits, put some air in those tires, make some adjustments for a short run, see what happens.
I think what's difficult about Xfinity Series is who else is going to pit with you. There's a lot of cars that are going to stay on the racetrack, and these guys are pitting, but they're going to lose a lot of track position, Parker.
Right, and the 11 of Justin Haley comes in here. He got that damage, Ryan C's car, coming up into that left front, so you're going to do Ford Goodyear tires, and you look at that left front. He's just pushed in right now too far. They're going to have to try and push that out, Marty.
So Parker from 9th, Noah Gregson pits, and there are currently 23 cars on the lead lap. I don't know if he'll start all the way back in 23rd, but they have not had the handling on this 9 car today to Noah Gregson's liking. So we'll see if these 4 fresh Goodyear tires help him gain some track position. This is going to be a fun little restart to watch.
Steve, you mentioned Josh Berry a little while ago. Remember, he restarted in 10th, only ran a few laps, but he used those few laps to his advantage. He is up to 6 right now, so he is going to restart, you know, at the worst, the 3rd lane, maybe the 2nd lane, depending on where people pick. I wouldn't count this guy out. He had a fast race car at the end of that last long run.
I agree, Jeff. Looks good. You know he's hungry, trying to prove a point, trying to keep his name in the talks.
The tough part about the decision now for these guys, that if you're not Kyle Busch, is starting in that bottom groove. It's just not going to be the preferred line. You can get checked up down there, you can lose grip, get out of the gas down there, lose a lot of momentum, and that outside line, they're going to have runs off of turn 2 down the back straightaway to take advantage of that.
Of course, Kyle Busch will be running tomorrow in the Cup race. And all of the Cup teams, I'm sure, are watching very closely as to how this one ends. Of course, with the fans, a great crowd here for the Xfinity Series race, sold out for tomorrow. Not only these main grandstands in the middle, but also the auxiliary grandstands that have been brought in. Qualifying tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Great IndyCar Series race from Road America at noon. And then Brad Paisley, Dale Earnhardt Jr. get us going with Countdown to Green at 2:45. And racing once again at Nashville. And involved in one of the recent crashes, Austin Cindric. He's out of the infield care center. Kelly caught up with him.
It's good to see Austin Cindric out of the infield care center. A big hit for you, Austin, but the chaos unfolded ahead of you. What did you see?
Yeah, I obviously saw the 7 and the 54 checking up. Knew I had to go low. I was already middle. I was middle of 3 by that point, and then obviously the 18 and the 1 somehow got together, and thought I was clear enough. I got shoved in the grass, and pretty hard hit right at start finish line. So hate it for car shop, hate it for the Penske guys. We made great strides after practice. Obviously winning the first stage was great. Kind of lost the handle on the car. Learned a lot today, but kind of battling back through the field, and it's not our day.
Yeah, he summed it up perfectly. You know, had the car at the beginning, kind of lost the handle on it. Unfortunately, it's not what he wants, but with wins in the bank, that stage win was a playoff point. You know, that's a little bit of salvage the day.
Another restart coming up, guys.
Yeah, we've had a lot of action on those restarts with Justin and Kyle. Here's Justin down the front straightaway on the apron, trying to get away from the side draft, and he clears him down into turn 1.
Justin liked the bottom of the racetrack, so he figured he'd try it again, but this time just lost the back of the car. He and Kyle Busch way up the racetrack, but behind him, chaos ensues.
That top groove's been pretty good for Kyle, especially on these old tires, and that's where he's probably going to line up again. Try to take advantage, keep that lead off turn 2.
I will say on the last restart, you know, Kyle got a great launch, but Allmendinger gave the 7 a really good push. We'll see if You know, if the 7 can match the 54 a little bit better, would that push from Allmendinger be enough?
Yeah, that's the thing. Allmendinger had a run. It wasn't enough to go 3 wide. The arrow did create a push for the 7, but if Allmendinger gets a good enough run, he's going 3 wide. He's not a teammate for that 7 car. He wants to win this race.
The sprint, 9 to go from Nashville.
And of course, the tolerance is up now. If I say move, you got to do it. Yes, sir. For you now, even up. Nose down. 4. Here comes his roll. Good behind them by 2. Now 1 to the 19.
3 wide down the back.
Josh Berry in the 8 on the inside.
Wow, I didn't think he was going to stick. He's able to clear both the 20. 20's Harrison Burton's going to come back down to the inside of the 8 car down the front straightaway.
Fighting back on the inside. Harrison Burton takes a position back, slides up in front of Josh Berry.
Great fight right there for those guys down the back straightaway. Josh to the outside of that 20 car into turn 3.
For 4th, Harrison Burton stays in front of him.
Up front, we got a battle for 2nd place down the front straightaway. Jones has made it to the inside of Allgaier. They're trading paint across the start-finish line.
Allgaier fighting back on the outside.
Allgaier knows how difficult it is being on the bottom, so he's going to pinch Brandon Jones all he can.
He got sideways,
they were driving.
And the caution has come out again.
You're backing up.
Oh, we got a car in the middle.
Landon Castle.
Landon's had contact with the wall down there. Middle of 1 and 2.
See the back of that car shortened up. Also damage to the right front as well. So now with 6 laps to go, getting close to potentially overtime here.
Let's see a replay of what happened to Landon down in turn 1 and 2 here. Looks like he might have got a little help. Maybe Sieg, who had his issues coming back to the field with his new tires. It's in the back of Landon, parks Landon in the wall.
Landon won't be happy about that.
No, he won't. It's tough for a team like Landon's, a very small team, much like Sieg's, but trying to keep cars in one piece so they can go to the next race is really critical for all these guys back there.
A lot of damage.
The replays are not going to help Sieg's argument. Rick, there's been a lot of excitement about NASCAR's return to Nashville. We talked a lot about the city and the downtown and the area, and it's a great city. But I'm telling you, this track has delivered.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't know what the racing was going to be like. The crowd, I mean, the crowd is packed. The energy's here. Those are all great for the event, but you got to have a good race, and we have had a great race. Jeff, you and I really talked all week long. We weren't sure what to see here. We've seen some races a decade ago. We've been out here testing, but man, it's been just a great race so far.
It really has, and I'm curious to see what the decision of Justin Allgaier is right here. Now that the tires are older, he keeps picking the bottom, right? Wants to line up next to Kyle Busch, but what if you tried something different? What if you let Kyle Busch pick the top and you pick the top with him and try to get a launch and push him down into turn 1? Try to move him out of the groove. Being on the bottom hasn't worked on old tires, so is it time to try something different?
You sold me. I would do it. But I don't think he's going to choose that. I think he's going to go back to the bottom. But you're right. I don't think he wins on the bottom. I think his only shot is to give up. Maybe you don't finish second. Maybe you end up 3rd or 4th because it doesn't work out. But it's probably the only chance he has at winning.
Interesting strategy, guys. Let's listen to what Kyle has to say about this next restart.
Go 7-19. I need a little bit of help here. I'm not getting any. I need a little bit. Come on.
Yeah, copy that. I'll talk to him.
So he wants that 19 to just push him more.
But that's if he's behind him.
Yeah, I like Jeff. I think Jeff sold me too. Line up beside him and try to get to his right rear quarter panel. See if you can accelerate out. At least don't push him out to the lead. Try something new. Uh-oh, where's Kyle going? Oh,
I don't
choose.
They didn't decide.
Man, you got me all excited. Thought the lights were
They're all going
off.
to the back.
Man, I'm ready.
They drove over the choose.
Yeah, but so to that point, Dale, right? We've seen it was pretty even on new tires, but on these hot tires, the outside, Kyle just made such a great run. I think Allgaier's doing all he can on the launch. Even that last time, he kind of shoved him up to help the entry angle. So, I mean, it would be a crazy try, but I don't think I'm totally against it. Parker.
Brandon Jones came across the rail when he was told about what Kyle Busch just said there, and he said, I'd like to push him too. I just haven't been able to get to him, which is always tough if you're trying to launch there and get right to that guy's rear bumper. That has not always been right behind him, so it's definitely his best chance right now, and he said he wants to do it.
I imagine, though, that when he has lined up behind Kyle's probably gave him some hand signals to let him know when he's going to go, when he's going to gas it. Typically, if you're the leader, you'll wave before you actually touch the gas pedal so that your guy sees you waving and he goes, and then you touch the gas pedal seconds later, and that times it perfectly. And you talk about these things in the competition meetings before the races and so forth, particularly at Daytona and Talladega tracks where the pusher on restarts is so critical.
All right, let's listen into Allgaier's communications.
I just don't know what to do different on these starts, buddy. Yeah, I mean, you're doing a great job. Doing all you can right here. Yeah, just warm that.
We told him. We just told him what to do different.
You know what he needs to do different? Something different. Like, right? Like he's been trying the same thing, and he's done a good job down there. Got him the lead earlier. It's just as these tires, and sometimes, Junior, in fairness, up here, we can see a bigger picture. We see the track changing. We see the bottom going away on old tires. So we're like, don't do it again. Like, try the top.
If he lines up on the bottom underneath the 54, his chances of winning are maybe 10%. Let's just say that. They're only about 15% if he lines up behind him. But it's 15%, not 10.
Yeah. Well, he's got we just talked about it. If you go to the bottom, immediately Brandon Jones is going to the top. Immediately. So now you got 2 Joe Gibbs racing cars on the outside. I would imagine the 20 would go to the bottom just to move up a lane, right? I don't know. But who's going to be behind you? And it's these decisions go further back in the field, right? Not just the lead. Well, like, how many lanes are you going to give up to get to the top?
Well, I'll say one thing. If he chooses the top, Brandon Jones isn't going to know what to do. He's so sure he's going to choose the bottom. Brandon's head's going to explode trying to figure out which lane to go in.
You see the wins over here on the left side of the column. 99 wins for Kyle Busch. Look at Mark Martin, Kevin Harvick. Those two combined don't equal the number that Kyle Busch has put up in the Xfinity Series.
Well, here we go.
This is the stuff that keeps me up at night as a driver, having the responsibility of the choose going.
And they've got 2 seconds to make that decision from the start-finish line to right there.
Oh, there you go.
There it is. That's how we thought it would happen.
You 19 with him.
And the only difference is Allgaier has the 20 behind him, not Allmendinger. And people can talk teammates all they want, but Harrison is not thinking, I'm going to help Kyle Busch. He's thinking, I'm going to go try to win this race.
Yeah, Harrison's not, if he gets a run or sets up his restart perfectly, he's not going to push this 7. He's not going to try to help the 7 beat his company car. He's going to try to go maybe 3 wide. I don't know if he'd do that or not. You know him better than I do, Jeff. But I think Allgaier's in a no-win situation.
I disagree. I think that you're here to win the race. Like, I don't think that right now, listen, I don't think anybody's thinking teammates. I think right now they're thinking, how can I win the race? What can I get out of this race?
Josh Berry's thinking that. Back in the 3rd row.
It's going to be 2 to go when they come back around in front of the grandstands. Into overtime for the first time at Nashville Superspeedway.
Here we go, green white checker.
I'm nervous. This is going to be pretty wild.
Y'all talked me right into this. I'm fired up.
Warming the tires up again. Race leader Kyle Busch coming into the restart zone.
That's a pretty even start. Nobody with a clear advantage there.
7 might have done a little better than the 54 there. Let's see how they get through 1 and 2.
You see that bottom just can't carry the speed on corner exit. Now watch them line up on the outside.
Kyle getting a little bit of distance between him and the 7. I don't think Justin's going to be able to get to the back bumper. Now the 19 with a shot to get underneath this 7 car.
Fight for second. 1 lap to go. Presented by Credit One Bank.
Clearly a battle for second. Kyle with a good lead.
Oh, the 19's going to get into the side of the 7.
3 wide for second. Here comes Harrison Burton.
There's wrecking behind him. You see it. Down the back straightaway, Harrison Burton in second place.
The fight is on again as Allgaier coming up to his outside, but history is going to be made. Kyle Busch will win his 100th Xfinity Series race, and it happens at Nashville.
Great work this weekend. Appreciate it, fast car. Great job, buddy. Hopefully at 100 comes with a few Kyle Busch cautions at the end, huh? Made you work for it. Yeah, I hear you. All good, man. Feels good. Nice. Shape being a small part of it. Congrats.
That might be referring to the guitar. Save me a small part of it.
He said you just wait and see.
He did. When we talked to him on Thursday, I asked him, I said, last time you were here and you won a guitar in the Xfinity Series race, you busted it up like a rock star. I said, what are you going to do if you win this week? He said, just wait and see.
What a race. What an awesome race that we saw at Nashville Superspeedway today. Multiple grooves, lots of passing, great battles, trading paint, donuts on the cars, donuts on the track. Can't wait for tomorrow.
How much does this help Kyle Busch for tomorrow, getting this race in?
Listen, I think it's an advantage. Steve and I talked about it in practice. Like, what a great opportunity to learn a racetrack. I think it is a little bit of an advantage.
The signature bow for Kyle Busch. A polarizing driver, you hear the roars and you also can hear the boos.
You know the best part? We hear the fans.
Yes, we do.
And there's a lot of them up there. Way to go, baby! A lot of folks come out here to see the truck race yesterday and this Xfinity race today. Tomorrow, packed house.
Rowdy Nation, very strong here at Nashville as the bow happens. What an accomplishment by Kyle Busch. Let's go to Mark.
17 years and about a month since win number 1 in the Xfinity Series. This is win number 100. When you started this journey, Kyle, did you ever dream 100 in this series was feasible?
No, not really. That wasn't the thought. You know, I remember growing up as a kid and watching Mark Martin win every week, you know, in that 60 car. And you just look at the domination that he had, and he's, you know, at number 2 of 49 wins or something like that. And just phenomenal years of being able to have such association with Joe Gibbs Racing and Toyota. M&M's, it's so cool to have M&M's on board for my 100th win here in the Xfinity Series, as they've been my longest and bestest and best sports sponsor there is, in my opinion. I mean, it's just been phenomenal. So, so cool to have M&M's on board. Interstate Batteries with Norm Miller, all the folks that have been here for all the years on the Xfinity side, you know, whether it's Z-Line or Doosan or whoever it might be, Stanley, obviously, Ream, a lot of people that have been our supporters over the years. And, you know, I want to give a huge shout out to Rowdy Nation out there. We appreciate Rowdy Nation. You know, I saw a lot of you standing up when Allgaier took the lead, and then a lot of you sat back down when I took the lead. So pretty awesome day for Rowdy Nation. We're going to go rehydrate with some Rowdy energy and get ready for tomorrow.
How about the guitar? You got plans for that? I know you've been thinking about it, and people have been asking you about it, Kyle.
Everybody's getting a piece tonight.
Oh, there you go. So he is going to break the guitar when he gets to victory lane, and to do it in front of the Nashville fans. Some of them climbing the fence here to get a glimpse of win number 100 in the Xfinity Series for Kyle Busch.
Rockstar-esque Kyle Busch. The guitar used to be designed by Sam Bass when the Xfinity Series and the Truck Series were running here in the early 2000s. Sam Bass has passed, but there is still going to be a guitar that will be presented to the winner. The races here at Nashville Superspeedway, and one will go now to Kyle Busch, his 100th win. He had told his fans and everyone that after he won 100 races, that milestone, if he reached it, he would retire from Xfinity Series racing. Well, he has 5 races every year that he can run. So far, he's run 3 this year. He's won all 3 of them. And this one, the most special. Win number 100 for Kyle Busch at Nashville Superspeedway. Guitar in hand in victory lane. It looks like he might talk to some folks first before any damage done to that guitar. All right, Steve, I think there were so many questions coming into this race. What was going to happen? And really, we weren't sure. I mean, I think you guys had some ideas that it might be a one-groove track on the bottom, but it was anything but that today.
So the easiest thing to answer all week long is who the favorite was going to be. If you couldn't handicap Kyle Busch as the favorite, that you haven't seen the other 99 wins he's had in the Xfinity Series. But what type of race? I tried to curb my expectations. This is a racetrack that I only tested at. I didn't think the groove was going to be very wide. I didn't know. I was completely wrong. Nashville Superspeedway, Goodyear, NASCAR, the competitors, everybody prepped a track that gave multiple racing lines, and then the competitors showed up and used those lines. It was a breathtaking race. I feel bad for Allgaier because he had a couple chances at it, but in the end, are we surprised? I mean, Kyle Busch, Mr. Restart himself, did it once again.
2 weeks in a row, and drivers, you guys are always talking about restarts. It was a restart that won this race for Kyle Busch.
Yeah, it really was. The restarts were incredible. The racing in general was incredible. I all the way through the field, this racetrack enabled these drivers to try different things, do different moves, try to get on the outside, the inside. Today was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Some drivers may have their feelings hurt after it, but from up here, it was a really fun race.
Yeah, the PJ1 is out, and the resin is in. And the other thing I liked,
you know how many drivers down there just went, he's my man.
The other thing I liked is the bodies on these Xfinity cars. They're not afraid to run into each other. We saw a lot of contact, and I can't wait to see this type of body in the Cup Series going forward. But just all the Xfinity drivers are eager to go after it. They're willing to get into each other. It's so much fun to watch these guys race and prove themselves.
It's been very impressive. And again, only 16 races into the season. And we look at Austin Cindric with 3 wins. These are the playoff standings.
Feel awful for Brandon Brown. Had that tire go down, perhaps a brake issue. He's just on the outside looking in. 48 points, though. That gap widens. Hemrick still looking for that win. Burton, Haley, I mean, there's so many names. I'm excited. This excites me not just for here, but for the rest of the season. This run to the playoffs is going to be fun.
Yeah, the one I'm looking at right there is Riley Hearst. He's had a tough year, but keeps climbing himself up the point ladder. There's 11 races left. He's got a chance to drive himself back into this playoff contention.
Yeah, Brandon Brown had a tough day. Sieg also, late spin, cost him a lot of points. Those guys are going to be trying to rebound. But this series is much more competitive this year than I think it has been in years past. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch this all develop.
2 weeks in a row, a tough finish for Justin Allgaier. Just got out-dueled by Kyle Busch at the end of the race on the last restart, and he's standing by with Kelly.
A runner-up finish today for Justin Allgaier in the return to Nashville Superspeedway. Justin, we're having a lot of fun watching these late race restarts between you and Kyle Busch. Take me through that last one. What was your strategy there starting down on the inside?
I don't know. You know, this is running second sucks. I'm not going to lie to you. Just really proud of all these guys. Junior Motorsports, our 7 team. You know, we had Dollar General Literacy Foundation on the car today, and it's Father's Day weekend. I had both my girls on the car. And when we took the lead from Kyle, I thought we were good. We were able to drive away there, and then with all those restarts at the end, just, you know, he held me down really hard in the middle of 3 and 4, and we got loose, and I think that was the difference maker. After that, we just didn't have the speed after that. So, again, just proud of our guys. You know, to bring 2 fast race cars 2 weeks in a row and have a shot at it and have it come down to those late races is a big deal. So we'll keep digging. We'll move on to next week and have some fun.
You make a return here to Nashville after a decade away. What did you make of the racing coming back to the Speedway?
A lot the same of what I remembered about 10 years ago, but you know, I feel like this has been a good racetrack for me. Nashville's a great market. These fans that were here today were incredible. And that's what this is all about, right? Our sport really thrives on fans, and this Nashville racetrack turned out this weekend, and hopefully it's the stay for the future.
And happy Father's Day to you.
Thank you, and happy Father's Day to all the dads out there.
So Braxton's going to join Dad, maybe shower him a bit. Rowdy energy drink there on the head. You know, it was a little over a decade ago when Kyle Busch won here and smashed the guitar. We're still waiting to see if he'll do it again here at Nashville.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.